so they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Man, too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles?
Comment tu t'appelles?
Vous êtes d'où?
Vous êtes d'où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
when you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Trimble on the drive to the top of the key, kicks it over on the left side to Cadeau. Left corner, Withers feeling it and hits another triple.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. UNC versus UVA tomorrow. If, and it's a big if, but if, UNC is going to go on a magic run, which is one of their few options left, right? Kind of win out the rest of the regular season, hit the ACC tournament, make a run, and either win the tournament to guarantee your chance in the NCAA tournament, or hopefully that the bubble gods look upon you favorably and you sneak in as an at-large. If you're going to go on a magic run, it's time, right? It's the Braveheart moment. Hold. Now it's time. Time to go. The stretch of basketball that UNC played from January 18th to this past most recent Wednesday against NC State was not good. Right? I said it earlier. I've been out for 2 weeks on paternity leave. Didn't mean the games weren't on. It was just they were on in the background while changing diapers and stuff. And I was watching UNC. I was watching Duke. I was watching NC State. And I'm hoping for something new, something different, something in those 2 weeks to change. And for most of it, watching UNC, not a ton different. Just like, they're still struggling. There's the big difference was like Ian Jackson actually forgot how to score, which was weird. And then I'm watching on Wednesday, and I'm like, wait a minute here. There's some life. The first half specifically against NC State was the best UNC has looked in a long while. Dare I say, they had some quintessential classic UNC moments. Running off a made bucket. Getting 2-3 consecutive turnovers while NC State was in the backcourt and turning that into a 6, 7, 8-point run quick for UNC.
It felt like Carolina basketball.
I almost don't want to say it too loud lest the basketball gods hear us.
Hey, I said it a bunch yesterday. It looked like Carolina basketball.
There were moments where you could have been watching a UNC team 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Now, those moments weren't the entire game. Like I said, second half there was some aggression, but you showed flashes. That has to be a turning point for you. Hubert Davis should play that in film and just go, see? You can do it. This is what I've been asking you to do. If that's the turning point, that's fantastic. And I like the way Hubert Davis is reacting to it to the media, right? He stopped taking the bait. Right? Remember a couple of weeks ago, it was actually three and a half weeks ago maybe, he made the comments about we're going to get a GM, we're going to get a recruiting coordinator. The way that Carolina basketball is structured doesn't work anymore. It was on his radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Now if you ask him about those very same things, he goes, no comment on it, I'm focusing on basketball.
He said we twisted things, though.
Yeah.
He did say that.
If you say things, people are going to talk about them. How crazy is that? But perfect. Even better. If you think we twisted it, stop answering the questions and just play basketball. Go us against the world, right? Who cares what we're saying? Did we twist the words? Did we not twist the words? Who cares what words we're saying? It's you that has to fix you right now. Do you know what here's something that coaches tell players in different words all the time. Media can twist words. Media can twist intonation, right? They can miss sarcasm. Oh, I was joking when I said that. Obviously, they didn't catch the joke. Oh, I meant this person. I said that person's name. It happens to all of us. You know what we can't twist? Final scores. We can't come in and go, UNC won when they lost by 12. We can't twist that. We can't come in and say UNC lost when you won by 17 or whatever it was. We can't twist that. That's what you focus on. UVA tomorrow, what does UVA do? They're going to try everything in their power to frustrate the heck out of you because they're Virginia. They aren't as good at it this year as they've been in years. In years past, it used to be inevitable. You're playing Virginia, you're going to hate your life for 2.5 hours. It's not as inevitable anymore, at least not this year, first year under interim head coach Ron Sanchez. But they're going to try. And if I'm UNC, I'm looking at those moments, those flashes that Dennis and I were just talking about where it looked like Carolina basketball, and I'm focusing on that. I like the way the announcers put it, right? They hung 100 in the first half on NC State. You didn't do that by overthinking things. You didn't do that by trying to be too fancy. What you did was you defended great on the perimeter, got out in transition, got turnovers in the backcourt, got easy buckets. Run and score. That is your game. UNC, hate to tell you, you're not going to be a defensive monster this year. You just can't with that roster. Take chances. Go for steals. Right? I think of it kind of like a bad, or not a bad, but a boom or bust football defense. You're going to give up the touchdown anyway. You might as well try to jump the route. Who cares if it's a 60-yard touchdown or if it's a 6-play, 10-yard per play drive touchdown? If your defense isn't good enough to stop them, take the chance. You might get a pick six. I don't know when it became like the thing of the day for Kevin Keats uses it all the time, ironically, NC State, to say, our turnovers weren't just turnovers, they were pick sixes. You're giving up a turnover that leads directly to a transition bucket. UNC should be going for pick sixes. That's when they felt like Carolina. The other thing I've learned, and by the way, just to throw it out there, NC State was one of the best in the country at protecting the basketball, and they were forcing pick sixes against them. I think they were 7th in turnovers per game nationally. If you can do that to UNC, you can do it to NC State. You can do it to Virginia. You can do it to a bunch of other teams. The other thing that was super noticeable over the last however many weeks I've been on paternity leave watching as a fan, UNC is a momentum team. They are a team that when their sails are inflated, they go. When their sails are inflated, RJ Davis gets to the free throw line more. Ian Jackson shoots better. Cade Tyson came off the bench and knocked down some threes just because the vibes were high. They are a momentum team. 2 steals, 2 easy buckets, they are a different team than when they're trying to grind out a win. And I don't know if that's the best way. Like, you want your team to be able to win with their C game, or when their sails aren't inflated. You want them to be able to grind, but if it's not you, it's not you. Right? Again, I'll relate it back to football because that's where my experience is. If a coach knows a team is a momentum team, you got to take shots downfield early. Right? You have to try to get momentum on your side if you are a streaky team. I've never seen a team that needs to be aggressive more than UNC. You just don't. In years past, yeah, if you wanted to go Armando Bacot, use the entire shot clock and get either a tough leaning and one off the glass from 2 feet away, or a kick out with 3 seconds left on the shot clock, you could do that in the past. This year, it's not that. Good shot, let it fly. Seth Trimble rebound. I'm a big fan of Seth Trimble, the way he's playing recently.
Oh, yeah.
Crashing the boards, tip-ins at 6'3". The amount of times that you're just watching like a scrum at the bucket and one hand is like 7-8 inches higher than every other hand that's going for the rebound, and you expect it to be Withers. You expect it to be the other team's center. And then on the replay, it's like, oh, that was Seth Trimble. Dude's got springs in his legs. Keep doing that. Which means, there's got to be other guys dropping into defense. I'm looking at Cadeau. I'm looking at Ian Jackson. If Seth Trimble's crashing from the perimeter, make sure you have someone back. But get the momentum on your side and ride that wave if you're a streaky team like UNC is.
And one thing that North Carolina has done, they did a lot against Syracuse, and they did the same thing against NC State, was they do it oftentimes after they make free throws. They go in that 1-2-1-1 press, especially when they have 3 or 4 guards out there on the floor. Say, hey, you know what? We don't have to worry about playing half-court defense if we're causing turnovers right here.
And yeah, exactly. When you're playing, especially when they go to the 4-guard lineup, there's a good chance you're going to give up a high percentage look on the other end. So you might as well take your chances in the backcourt. It's exactly what I'm saying. And by the way, if of your 5 best players, 4 of them are guards, don't be afraid to play them. It's modern basketball. This isn't 1960 where you're like, well, we need 2 tall guys. We need to put them on the baseline, and we have 3 smaller, quick guys that can only dribble with their right hand. This is 2025. Positionless basketball. Go crazy. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I may have hinted, I may have maybe given away one of my Dean's List members for today, but you'll have to stick around to find the rest of them coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
Their more pressing need to get this team across the line was never Mikko Rantanen. It was, man, we got to get better down the middle. We have to get better, more hard to play against in the middle of the ice. JT Miller, by the way, right now is playing third center for the Rangers. So to me, if this was about this year, it would have been JT Miller would have been the target.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Dierks Bentley Broken Branches Tour. Live at Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Raleigh, Friday, August 8th, with Zach Top and the band Lula. What was I thinking? On sale now at livenation.com. Dierks Bentley. She hates me. My hair. Part of the Mattress Warehouse Concert Series, presented by Live Nation.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello, Creighton Blackwell here from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. Tonight we are at Green Level High School, and we're here to celebrate the newest Scholar Athlete of the Month, Lexi Taylor.
My family is definitely like my biggest support through everything. My sister and my parents both support me through my hardest days and my best days, and they're always there to support me.
Lexi's a phenomenal athlete, comfortable with whatever you ask her to do. She's strong, she's poised, she doesn't get flustered easily.
And she's just like grown up so much as like a captain and a teammate, and she's been a captain now for 2 years, and I really just think she's been like such a great help to our team.
Well, I've been cheering with her since 7th grade, and we're seniors now, so I've kind of like watched Lexi like grow up, I feel like, and she's like done the same with me. So I've like seen her like step into a leadership role, and I feel like she's just always super encouraging and keeps a positive attitude.
It means a lot to me to just be able to be recognized in such like a wide area with so many amazing athletes. So I just feel great to like feel like someone's like seeing all the hard work that I've been putting into my sport and my academics. So I'm very grateful for it.
Congratulations, Lexi.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
This hour of the drive brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com.
Looking for Evans on the right. A ball fake, steps to the left, and hits another one. His 5th three of the ball game. And it's 68-43 with 9:25 to go. He's 5 of 5 from outside.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Happy Friday, everybody. Didn't say that earlier because my calendar is all thrown off. But happy Friday, which means we have a full slate of weekend action coming up. There's the NHL's back and playing. Canes play tomorrow. You can hear that right here, 99.9 The Fan. They'll be playing at Toronto, which I did see this on Twitter. Somebody was like, so you're telling me the first one out of the break, Canes are playing on the road at night at Toronto. Can't they just get a normal game one time? Well, if you're going to have a crazy one, I kind of like it coming out of the break. Haven't gotten into a routine yet. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of college basketball going on. There's been a lot going on. Thus, let's head to the Dean's List. Class is in session. This is where we highlight the good of college newsmakers, college sports, and put them on a little honor roll list, right? We give them some accolades. My first, you heard the intro coming in, Isaiah Evans. He is to the Dean's List what like Cooper Flagg is to the ACC Rookie of the Week. It's just he's on here seemingly every week, but I love guys that star in their roles. Isaiah Evans knows his role. When his number is called off the bench for Duke, he is a flamethrower. He is a shooter. Catch, let it fly. And it's, I mean, I can only imagine like the heart flutters for John Shire when Isaiah Evans' first three of the game goes in, because then he's just like, all right, there's 5 more where that came from, and it's pretty much automatic from this point.
Yeah, it's like, oh, all right, we're good. All right, there's 12 points at minimum.
All right, so
right
yeah,
there.
Exactly. He's given us his 12. Now, what else are we going to do? How can we build off it? Who else do we need to have out there around him? He's a very skinny individual, but he's lanky. He's got a great wingspan, so he can get his shot off. He doesn't need a ton of space, right? If he's a catch-and-shoot guy, if you're closing out on him, he's going to rise pretty quickly, and with the high release point, 17 points. You heard what was that, the 5th consecutive made three in the highlight. He finished 6 of 7 from 3 off the bench versus Virginia. I mean, having that microwave offense off the bench is such a luxury. And
it spaces the floor.
It absolutely does.
If he's on the floor, you can't just let that guy sit wide open. Well, okay, that's just going to allow room for others to drive to the basket.
And there's plenty of driving ability in the rest of that Duke roster to take advantage of it. It's not bold prediction time yet, but if Duke does, make it to the Final Four, national championship game, whatever, I imagine there's going to be one game, either ACC tournament or NCAA tournament, that like history will look back on as the Isaiah Evans game. There will be that game where it's like, hey, remember where it was a 3-point game at halftime against a team they had no business being close against, and then Isaiah had 20 points in the second half with no dribbles, and it's just it's going to happen because we've seen him preparing for it all year. That's my first Dean's List member. Second Dean's List member I hinted at during the last segment, Seth Trimble, UNC. His athleticism is kind of, I want to say it is. It has the potential to be the golden elixir, the silver bullet for the Tar Heels, because they're undersized. We've been talking about it all year, not breaking news. When he flies in for rebounds and tip-ins and steals kind of post-impact from his guard position, it levels the playing field just a little bit. On top of making it okay for a player like R.J. Davis to continue shooting. And even if you're missing shots, if it's turning into extended possessions, you're getting offensive boards, you're getting tip-ins, it's not as detrimental, which lets a shooter continue shooting without the game getting out of hand. Same with Ian Jackson. Seth Trimble needs to bring a little bit of his game from last year back, right? Because we talked to Seth Trimble, I think it was last year, maybe preseason this year, where he kind of has the social awareness of when UNC needs a kick in the pants. And last year he would hunt a dunk, right? You'd see him like timing his steps when he catches his dribble to get that launch point. And even if he didn't get the dunk, if he was fouled or if he threw it off the back rim and it went up into the rafters, like just the attempt would give everybody a little jolt of energy. I think he should start looking for some of that, right? Try flying in for a shot that might be a make. But if it's off the rim, you're gonna tip dunk it and get everybody going, because just the attempt of those sort of things gets UNC going. And as a momentum team, as I described earlier, that can only help. Do you have a member of the Dean's List you want to add here today, Dennis?
I actually do.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
All right, so yesterday, North Carolina A&T had a big upset over Campbell yesterday in men's basketball. 53-50. Jonathan Lamoth of A&T, 25 points and 7 rebounds. 25 points of his team's 53.
Shout out to A&T.
By the way, they only roll 6 guys just because of some suspensions and all that kind of stuff. They only roll 6. Props on those guys. They needed that.
Honestly, probably a little fun, too. To just know, like, whether I play well or not, I'm getting minutes today, boys.
Exactly.
We're going out there. Let's play some ball.
Getting shots up. Here we go.
Shades of AAU days where there's, like, there's the flu going around the middle school. We got 5 guys to play, Coach. We got 8 games today, starting at 8:30 in the morning. Here we go. My last Dean's List entry is a shared honor. Goes to a bunch of them. This list from NC State: DJ Horn, DJ Burns, Casey Morsell, and Mo Diarra. The starters from a season ago that are no longer on the NC State men's basketball team, because obviously they were pretty good. Apparently the difference between making the Final Four and being maybe the worst team in the ACC is those 4 guys. I mean, obviously they care about their squad, right? They want State to be better. But there is a weird, cynical part of every athlete's brain that's like, if I'm not here, I want them to miss me, right? If you get hurt and you're an offensive player, you don't want the offense to get better, right? You want your team to win, but your personal pride is like, I hope I'm impacting the game somehow. So those guys leave and the team gets way worse. They're bummed, but also there's probably the angel on their shoulder is saying like, no, Michael O'Connell's your buddy. Right? Ben Middlebrooks is your friend. You want them to play well and win. The devil on the shoulder on the other side is going like, yeah, they're not the same without you. You were the difference. You were the mover and the shaker. DJ Horn, DJ Burns, Casey Morsell, Mo Diarra. Members of the Dean's List for today. We do that just about every day, and we'll have plenty of material for entries on Monday. Thank you to everybody that makes it. Thank you to for everybody that listens. I'm gonna ask a favor of everybody right now. Here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I do not pretend to act like the job that I have. This, hosting a sports radio show job is mining in the coals, right? Or mining for coal in the mines. We are not exactly roofing in July. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the hardest job in the world, but when you do miss time, and I've been out for 2 weeks on paternity leave, there is like a sinking feeling when something happens and you're like, man, that's a fun thing to talk about on the radio. And you're like, oh no, the sports cycle moves like 24, 48 hours. Everybody moves on. I'm not going to get a chance to talk about that. So my favor is, the thing I am asking of you is if you can give me like 2 minutes for me to rapidly run through a bunch of stuff that has happened over the last 2 weeks that I didn't get a chance to voice my opinion on, that has been discussed and has been pretty much moved on from, but I haven't gotten the chance to scratch that itch.
Let me put a timer?
I would love to have a timer just to make sure I don't go 20 minutes because,
right.
I do tend to go that way.
All right, I'll give you the
When it's over?
When it starts and stops.
Tell me when to start then.
Okay, well, you'll hear the same thing. You ready, sir?
I'm ready.
It's almost like numbers game.
Kind
Your time starts when you hear the horn.
Cooper Flagg is not coming back to Duke. I don't know if everybody saw this a handful of days ago. Cooper told some journalist, I want to come back next year. Saying you want to come back to play in college in the middle of a college season, which is really fun with guys your age, it's your first time being in that environment, right? Living in the dorms is the equivalent of saying at like 11:30 at night with your buddies at a bar, we should go hiking tomorrow. It's like in the moment, great idea. At a certain point, you're going to have a clear mind. You're not going to be in the vibe, and you're going to go, you know what? I probably should go to where they're going to pay me millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. I should probably go be the number 1 overall pick and go start the clock earlier to get to my second contract and my third, which could be $500 million. As much as the Duke run is fun, here's what I would say to Duke fans. Enjoy Cooper Flagg this year while he is on campus. Do not let your mind wander to, well, he said he wants to be back. Maybe we'll get another run at it next year. Make sure you take advantage of this year's ACC tournament. Make sure you take advantage of this year's NCAA tournament. Do not let your mind wander to Cooper Flagg being back next year any more than you let your mind wander to that awesome business plan you and your buddies come up with on a drunken evening where you think, nobody does make a 7-passenger convertible. I think we could get it patented and make $1 million. Should we go on Shark Tank right now? You talk about it, you wake up the next day, clear mind, you don't get excited about it. That's where Cooper Flagg coming back to Duke is. You talk about it, you have a good time for a day or two, then the clearer mind says you are absolutely good. Do not worry about it. Just move forward. You have the Boozer twins coming in next year. Focus on that. There it is. That was one that I saw, and I was like, oh, I wish I could have done that on the radio. You ready for another?
Your time will start when you hear the horn, sir.
Cam Newton, you're down to your final strike, buddy. I'm going to defend Cam Newton one more time. If you misspeak again, it's on you. A couple weeks ago, what did he say? He'd rather have his MVP than a Super Bowl. And I said, well, I think he was talking more about the run-of-the-mill Super Bowl. He wants to be like the main character. He wants to be the MVP. He wants to live and die on his own play. While I was out on paternity leave, he called the team that he joined, the Panthers team that he joined, a bunch of losers. And Steve Smith had problems with it, and a bunch of other guys had problems with it, and they all voiced their opinion, as they should. Here's my last defense of Cam Newton. Before, if you misspeak again like that, I'm going to have to start piling on like everybody else. My last defense is, I am willing to guess, or give him the benefit of the doubt, that he was talking in Remember the Titans terms. I don't know if everybody remembers the very kind of monumental speech from Julius Campbell on Remember the Titans. You demanded perfection. Now I know I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But up until now, this team has been perfect because they hadn't lost a game up until then. I think that's what Cam was getting at, saying like he wasn't calling Steve Smith a loser. He wasn't calling an individual player a loser, but the team won 2 games and lost 14, right? None of y'all are losers, but the team was full of losers because you lost 14 games, right? It's kind of like you are what your record says you are, is what he was getting at. At least that's what I hope he was getting at. And I know he tried to explain himself and he did it in an even weirder way. I'm giving defense. I'm lending my defense services to comments made by Cam Newton one more time. Next time, 3 strikes and you're out, buddy. You come out and somehow say, Greg Olsen wasn't that much of a leader or something, then I'm out. Then I'm gonna pile on like everybody else. This is my last defense of Cam Newton. Thank you for sparing me 2 minutes to get that off my chest. Shall we go with another 2 minutes? Shall my time start when we hear the horn? Andy Dalton re-signs with the Carolina Panthers. I give Andy Dalton a ton of credit. He has earned the right to be in the room with Bryce, because let's not make any mistakes about it. It's Bryce Young's team. Bryce Young is the quarterback of the future, and Andy Dalton being re-signed on a 2-year deal. 10 mil up to 12, 8 guaranteed.
6 guaranteed, 8 mil, can be up to 10.
He's earned that by being good in the room. He's earned that. Here's the crazy part about about Andy Dalton, Bryce Young. They've gone through the goods and the bads together. Both of them. They've both played good. They've both played poorly with the other on the sideline. They've supported each other. They've been supported by the other. It is unbelievable how often they're standing next to each other talking when they cut to the quarterback on the sideline. When Andy Dalton was starting, they cut to the quarterback. Bryce Young was right there. When Bryce Young was starting, they cut to the quarterback. Andy Dalton's right there. And the interesting part is you cut to the quarterback on the sideline in 2 different situations. 1, after the quarterback's playing well. 2, after an interception. And they're always right there. That shows the relationship they have. The other side of it is this. Andy Dalton has done one of the hardest things in sports. He's transitioned from star to role player, which is so difficult. If you go look at like the all-time Cincinnati Bengals passing records, Andy Dalton's at or near the top of darn near all of them. This is a guy that was a starter on a playoff team 5 consecutive years. He and A.J. Green had an elite combination. To go from that to I will re-sign and understand that I'm not here to start, I'm not here to take a job, I'm not here to compete, I'm here to support, that's tough. I've given the same speech to UNC product Vince Carter. He went from like all-star, main attraction, to 3-and-D player to like shooter off the bench. And that's tough. Not many guys have that ability to make that switch. So credit to Andy Dalton for having the ability to make that switch. It's feeling good to get all of this off my chest. They were bottled up for 2 weeks. Do I have two? I got more. 2 minutes. Go and fire. There it is. Mikko Rantanen. Give it a minute, everybody. I truly believe this about Mikko Rantanen right now for the Carolina Hurricanes. Mind is in a blender right now. He had 1 goal, 1 point total in 3 games with Finland in the Four Nations Cup. Obviously hasn't been producing a ton of goals in his short time with the Canes. And if I see one more tweet about, he's a trade deadline flip candidate or anything, listen. And by the way, he was skating with like Alexander Barkov in the Four Nations for a big portion. Like he was being set up for success. It's not like a Aho thing, if that's what you're blaming it on. Give it a minute. My guy needs a routine, and he needs to mellow out. He just needs to let his heart rate get back to normal, okay? Before we start making any kinds of discussions or decisions about anything. The trade, crazy, right? Been somewhere a decade. Traded, pops up with the new team on the road, gets back home, immediately, boom. As soon as you think you're there, go to the Four Nations Cup. You're playing for your country. It's playing on different lines. It's all crazy. Boom, that's over. Now you're back here. Give it a minute. Mellow out. Relax. Almost start now. Start now with your judging of Mikko Rantanen. Just ignore everything else. Everything else, too crazy. Too crazy. Consider it like a quarterback's rain game. Can't really judge it, right? It isn't pouring rain. From this point forward, see how Mikko. There'll be a routine. He'll get into the flow, the social dynamics of the locker room. He will start to play better. And then make your decisions on how he fits, and then make your decisions on the trade deadline, and then make your decisions on postseason play and everything else. But for right now, just chill. I'm talking to the fan base, and I'm talking to Mikko. Mikko, like, find, your favorite food spot. Go there, every Tuesday. Get your routines down. Athletes are creatures of habit. He's been Colorado a long time.
By the way, one thing I pointed out with Mikko Rantanen was he never actually had a chance to pack up his stuff from Colorado.
Absolutely not.
Because he was in Boston ready to play against the Bruins, has to fly to Long Island, then goes to Manhattan with the Canes, comes down to Raleigh, then like you said, has to go to Montreal for the Four Nations. The guy never actually had a chance to pack his stuff. We talked to Sean Walker a couple days ago, and he's like, at least I knew I had 12 hours to grab every suitcase I could and pack up, and I was anticipating getting traded. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
My guess is 90% of the clothes he's worn in the last month have either had the Canes logo or Team Finland logo on it because it was like issued to him because he hasn't had a chance to get back to his closet. Like
it's go buy it.
It's that crazy. It is that crazy. So just give him a minute. Let him settle in. I hope all of us in our new jobs, they're not like, sorry, it's not working out when you take a new job like 2.5 weeks in. Well, I just learned who everyone else's name is.
Printer.
Yeah, exactly. It took me 12 minutes to find the bathroom the other day, and I only had 13 to get there. You know what I mean? Like, give him a minute. Give him a minute. Let me hear the horn. I'll start over again. I can fix the NBA All-Star Game. I've seen so many NHL Four Nations Cup versus NBA All-Star Game comparisons on how much better the Four Nations Cup is than the All-Star Game. I agree. I think you lean into that. The best thing the Four Nations Cup did is it found what hockey players care about. It found what motivates them. I don't think it would work for the NBA. I don't think you can go get 4 teams from 4 countries and play an all-star game because I think USA would be so bloated, overconfident, and they should be because they dominate the Olympics and all that, that they wouldn't go get the best teams. However, here's what you divide them up by. Shoe brands. You make it like F1, where F1, it's like you have Team Mercedes, you have Team Aston Martin, you have Team this, Team that. Only the 4 teams you have for the NBA All-Star Game, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, and Jordan Brand, which we had to divide up Nike just to get it. Then, the people that pay all those endorsements money will work it into the contracts that if you're selected as an all-star, you play in that because Team Nike doesn't want to lose to Team Adidas, so they want their good players out there. It's pretty well divided up. Nike would have like LeBron, Giannis, KD, Adidas, Harden, Lillard, Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell, Under Armour, Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, De'Aaron Fox, Jordan Brand, Luka, Tatum, Zion, Westbrook, CP3. There's options there. You play them like that, they'll actually play, and then the money actually matters. Because right now, like they're like, oh, we could give $500,000 to the winning team, and it's like, do you realize how much money they make? Do you realize that $500,000 for us would be a huge motivating factor, but for LeBron, it's like I'd rather sleep in? That's how crazy it is. So put him, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. I don't know if Puma has a great year and they got a bunch of guys signed. You can work in others. Converse, I don't know. But do it like the Manufacturers Cup in F1. Make it matter for them. By the way, I think they should do that for golf too. Have a tailor-made team, Titleist team. Kind of like the live team thing, but only teams that people care about. I've got theories. We can talk about them if you want to. Find me on Twitter at Donnelly Sports.
So isn't Cooper Flagg New Balance?
Sure.
I mean, I think LaMelo Ball is a Puma guy.
There you go. Puma has a few. Don't get me wrong. Puma has a few. New Balance. They have Kawhi Leonard, Cooper Flagg. You could start something there. And by the way, it would also get shoe deals for like lesser stars. Because Puma would have to like fill out their rosters. All of a sudden, Mark Williams is on the Puma. Like it's we need a rim protector for our All-Star game team.
Nah, they'll feel as physical.
But or not, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah, right.
That's NBA jokes for you. I have one more here. Do we have time?
Yeah, we
All
actually
right.
do have time.
One more. Let me hear the horn. NC State basketball will miss the ACC tournament. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that to sometimes you have to say it out loud. Rock bottom is a tough place to be, but you also have to see it as an opportunity to really evaluate your process and start next year. I've talked about this in the pros. Once you're mathematically eliminated, it becomes the next season. Fund to raise. There's 2 ways to fundraise a ton of money. 1, be really, really good and go, if you want more of that, you got to give money. 2, be really, really bad and say, if you don't want more of that, you got to give money. And I actually think being bad might be the better motivator, right? Go to your richest people and say, that stunk. That was probably embarrassing. People probably made fun of you because of the bumper sticker you have on your car that says, Go Pack. If you don't want that to happen, I need $50,000. Like, that's what you have to do. The pitch sells itself to the players. We can be a Final Four team. We proved that 2 years ago. And we have a ton of shots available for you to come take. We proved that this year. Like, the pitch to the players makes sense. You just need the cash to get in the NIL market and make it work. This year, failure. It's okay. You have to address the problem, acknowledge the problem before you solve the problem. After last season and after, like, do you realize there's only, I believe, 14 teams in college basketball history with multiple national championships. You're one of them. Have higher expectations. Address a failure when it's a failure. This is it. It's not good. That North Carolina game, rough, just hard to watch, difficult body language, everything. I half wanted to see Dontrez Styles get a tech when Seth Trimble stared him down, right? That's your old team. They're going to make it a thing. Make it a thing. Maybe I'm just watching too much Four Nations Cup, and I'm like, you should have dropped the gloves and fought. Maybe it's a little too much. 9 seconds. You should have 4 fights by now.
Right from the opening tip.
How funny would that be?
That actually would be.
Sorry, got caught up in watching the Four Nations Cup. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to everybody for giving me a chance to get all that off my chest.
Yeah, Wednesday was bad for NC State.
It was actually hard to watch.
Bad.
It was hard to watch in a way that it's like, I'm trying to think like I don't know, like a fight in a high school hallway. At first, you're just like, fight, and it gets real exciting. And then if one guy's just kind of pummeling the other, you're like, ooh, they're not fighting back anymore, and it's less fun. Now it's, teacher, someone go get a teacher. We need to end this. And I don't say that complimentarily of NC State. That's kind of an insult. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have football at 4 coming up next, and I will explain why so many fans want to trade back for the Panthers, but it ain't that easy. Stick around. It's Heart Month. I'm Tim Donnelly, and I'm here with Dr. Andrew Sampson of WakeMed Heart and Vascular. Doctor, in simplest terms, what exactly is a heart murmur, and how do you know if you have one?
So a heart murmur is just turbulent blood flow going through the different chambers of the heart. It can be completely benign, something that has no effect on your health, or it can be due to a heart valve that works inappropriately or incorrectly. And that can be due to either narrowing of the heart valve or a leaky heart valve. You typically are diagnosed with a heart murmur by your primary care doctor, who listens to your chest with a stethoscope. Once that has been evaluated and it's been determined that you do have a heart murmur, the next step is typically an echocardiogram or an ultrasound of the heart for further evaluation.
If you have more questions about heart murmurs or anything about your general heart health, go ahead and visit wakemed.org. And keep listening all month for more information and tips about heart health.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
What city's fan base are you rooting against the most?
Kansas City.
They just lost. Why do you have to root against them now?
Because they've been at the top and they let you know about it every single chance that they get.
Well, they can't say nothing about it now. They lost. They got embarrassed in the Super Bowl.
They sure did. But I'm just saying prior to that.
You're still rooting against them?
Yeah, big time.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You know what's fun about Ram Truck Month at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington? Nothing if it's not you behind the wheel of a brand new 2025 Ram 1500. With savings as much as $15,000 off a new 2025 Ram 1500, you can have all the fun driving this powerful, rugged truck built for work, play, and everything in between. So get off your keister and get to Heister today. Hurry to Ram Truck Month at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
Bonuses used to be everywhere. Boxes of cereal, a baker's dozen, airline upgrades, even without quadruple diamond platinum status. Life is better with the bonus. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery is adding bonus chances to multiply your win on Multiply the Cash scratch-offs. More chances than ever to win over $140 million in total prizes. Because everything is better with a bonus. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.31 to 4.86. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hey, it's Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. And if you haven't been to Bailey's Fine Jewelry's Village District location in Raleigh and gone to their Omega Boutique, you need to make it a priority. These watches are not just something to keep time on your wrist, although they do that with unbelievable precision. They're also conversation pieces. They're also statement pieces. When you walk into a room with an Omega Speedmaster or a Seamaster or a Prestige or a DeVille on your wrist, people notice in a good way. The Speedmaster has been worn on the moon, so you know it comes with a certain gravitas. A Seamaster is worn by your favorite movie spy in darn near all of the recent blockbusters, and you know what I'm talking about when it comes to extra suave movie spies. They make a statement, they tell a story, and they make you feel like $1 million. It's all at the Omega Boutique, Village District location in Raleigh of Bailey's Fine Jewelry.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Beautiful sunshine out there, but still on the chilly and breezy side. We'll see a high of 42, but still a good bit of melting happening out there for this afternoon. But it will be cold again tonight. We drop down to 19 degrees. We do see a warmer weekend. Highs tomorrow near 50 and then upper 50s on Sunday with mostly sunny skies.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is down 748 points to 43,428. Market update brought to you by Lufthansa. Lufthansa is excited to take off from Raleigh Durham International Airport, connecting you to destinations like Germany, Italy, India, and beyond. Say yes to incredible journeys. Book today at Lufthansa.com.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for Football at 4. Football at 4, where we talk pigskin about the same time of day every single day. I have something to probably rain on the parade of some Panthers fans. I'm coming back after 2 weeks. I'm going to immediately just Debbie Downer the heck out of this. Trading back always sounds good. You have the 8th overall pick. Trading back, well, we'll just move down to 15. We'll get the player we love, and we'll pick up a second-round pick. It sounds unbelievable, and if you can pull it off, it is. And is there a chance they'll pull it off? Sure. There always is a chance, right? I never go into anything saying 100% this or 0% that. But it's always the fans' favorite thing to do. Trade back, get the player we want anyway, and get more. On your little mock draft simulators online, I traded back. I now have every pick in the first round in 2028, and I still got Colston Loveland in the late first. It's like, what? How'd you pull that off? Well, I only had to refresh and start over 17 times. Okay, it's not exactly how it works, but good try. So Daniel Jeremiah he's a NFL Network draft analyst. Had a open media availability. Dennis caught some of the audio involving the Panthers, and if a trade back is possible, this is what he had to say.
That's a good discussion, and it's a good debate in the room. I mean, I don't think you want to do it just to get a 4th-round pick, but I think if you can, get some quality resources, get another pick on day 2, he's a great player, and I wouldn't have any criticism if they decide we're just going to stick and pick him and go forward. But when you have this many holes, and this is a draft that does have a lot of talent and depth, on the defensive front, I'd be interested in that option. I'm not saying, that's the right or the wrong way to go. I just think, man, there's so many holes there, and you could fill a bunch of them if you could slide back a little bit. So, I think that's a good debate and a good discussion. I I could spend 10 minutes and argue it each way. So they just have to see what they get. I definitely think you'd want to get a premium. I don't think you just do that just to go back and get an extra pick.
The player he was talking about, who Daniel Jeremiah has mocked to the Panthers, is Jalen Walker out of Georgia, the outside linebacker. Here's the part where I ran on the parade. It takes two to tango. And what Daniel Jeremiah said there is true, right? If you can get a premium pick, if you can get a day 2 pick, an early third, a second rounder, you move back and not that far, absolutely you do it. The hard part is finding someone that wants to give you that. I have, whatever car you drive. Would you sell it? Probably not. But if someone gave you $100,000, yeah. The hard part is finding someone that'll give you $100,000 for it. And here's the other thing about trading up that is or trading back that is difficult, especially in this year's draft. I've been fortunate enough over the last however many years to talk to enough insiders, enough GMs, and things like that. And one of the biggest differences, I think, between the actual teams and how they evaluate the draft and how, we evaluate the draft is tiers versus big boards, right? Because we, meaning media, myself included, we go top 100 prospects and we put them in order. Teams oftentimes, whatever verbiage, the Ravens call them buckets. They put players in buckets. A lot of teams call them tiers. Some call them groups. And what that means is they don't necessarily decide we like this guy 6th best in the draft, we like that guy 7th best in the draft. They decide we like this group of 4 second tier. We like this group of 7 in the 3rd bucket. And you don't trade up ever when there's more than one person left in a tier or a bucket. Right? If you have 6 guys that are pretty close, you just put them in a bucket. So, and then if there's only one left in that bucket, then you trade up because you see them as a step above whatever's left, the lower buckets, the lower tiers, the lower groups. So, you see Daniel Jeremiah, you see Mel Kiper, you see Todd McShay, you see all of the big boards and the mock drafts, and that all is linear. This is the best player, this is the 2nd best player, this is the 3rd best player, this is the 4th best player. Tune in next week where I update it, and I might flip 3 and 4. The teams don't think that way. They think in groups. So in this year's draft, I think there's a really good, really high group of defensive linemen. A bucket of defensive linemen, if you will. I think there's a really good, really high group of running backs. I think there's a really good, really high group of maybe safeties. The issue is running backs and safeties don't get drafted in the top 10 very often.
Very rarely.
And defensive line, I think the Panthers would have to get lucky and have 4 of the top 7 picks be defensive linemen to get to the point where edge rushers, interior defensive linemen are at the end of a bucket by 8, in which case someone else would be willing to move up and take that pick. Because if Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, and I mean, name whoever you want to out of your favorite defensive linemen, if there's 4 of them available at the 8th pick, nobody's going to be we got to trade up to 8 to get them, because they could just wait and see which one of those guys falls to 15 and give up less to trade up to 15. You need to wait till there's 1 left in a tier, 1 left in a bucket. And unfortunately for the Panthers, I think there's a bucket of quarterbacks, right? I think Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, maybe Jackson Dart, are being seen as that top bucket.
Those are tiny buckets.
True. So if one of them is available at 8, suddenly trading back becomes a whole different beast. Quarterback needy team only has to trade up to 8 instead of 3, you might get something real. But if they're both gone in the top 4, they're both gone in the top 6, right? With the Raiders taking maybe the 2nd or 3rd of them, that's tough. So you're not just looking at the draft saying, I would like to trade back, as a declaration of regardless of what the scenario is, we have more needs than one, I declare a trade back.
Go full Michael Scott with it.
Yeah, you can't. Imagine submitting a trade to the league. This pick has been traded to the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings are what? We didn't even know this happened.
Since when?
The Panthers will be taking their next 2 first-round picks and a 3rd. It's no. You need to and this draft, the 8th pick, it just, granted, we're still very early on, right? If there's still the possibility of some kind of unknown edge rusher running a 4.4, and all of a sudden, oh, look at that, now everybody wants him. There's combine changes, there's a pro day changes, there's more to come. But trading back and just saying I want to sounds good. Sounds good. And if you can pull it off, oftentimes is good. But it takes two to tango in any of those situations. The only thing the Panthers can 100% control is being prepared to make the 8th pick when the 8th pick comes around. That's what you can, like, the same is true the opposite way, right? Nobody can take the 8th pick away from you without you agreeing to it. So, like, if you want that pick, you can stick and pick and take whichever of the best players available is there. The dream scenario for the Panthers is they have 8 players in a bucket. We've got an 8-player top tier. That would be awesome for the Panthers. Then if, 7 of them go, it's an easy decision. You submit it in the first 2 seconds of the clock.
One thing that always factors into the draft as well is that there might be elite level players, but again, what positions do they play? For example, if there's a year like last year where there are a lot of high-end quarterbacks who had 6 go in the top 12, teams more likely will be willing to trade up if they are desperate in need of a QB. Teams might need a defensive tackle, but they're not going to move up from like 15 to 8 to take a D tackle most likely.
Especially not if they see, like, on the board at 8, 3 defensive tackles that they like.
Yeah, or like, you know what? There's one that could help us here where we're staying. So there's always that. Like, what does the draft as a whole look like? Like you said, it takes 2 to tango. Like, oh, move back. Okay, to whom? Like,
who wants to move up?
Yeah, exactly. But if there's such a great player at number 8 that a team's willing to trade up, I think the Panthers should take that guy.
It's
for a team that is in desperate need of high-end talent.
That's the other part is if I'm trying to think, there's really not a position. I guess offensive guard. If they had like the 18th pick and the number 1 offensive guard was generational, was sitting there, they could legitimately go, we don't need that right now, so we'll trade out of it. I don't think there's a single premium position that is worthy of the 8th pick for someone else that the Panthers can look at and go, we can do without this elite corner, edge rusher, wide receiver. Like there's none of that they can go like, we'll pass on that. You take him and we'll get, give us the value picks. It's just not there. And oh, by the way, I don't think it's outlandish to think Jacksonville at 5 would be calling everyone saying you want to trade up. The Jets at 7 calling everyone you want to trade up. Like the Panthers aren't going to be the first call to all of these teams.
I think the only way we would see a team make the desperate move to trade into the top 10 is if they absolutely convince themselves that they were in love with a quarterback not named Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. Like that's the only way I really truly see it.
But the hard part with that is New Orleans, Chicago, San Fran, Dallas, Miami are the next 5 teams. None of them need a quarterback.
Yeah.
So you'd probably be a little comfortable knowing, unless they're trading to someone else, right? You got to start. Then Dan Morgan has to be a GM and go, well, we got this other team that wants a quarterback on the line, so you got to build that up because there's no real market in your pick, including the next 6 for the quarterback. I mean, and then there's wild cards. Maybe somebody loves Ashton Genty so much that they want to snipe him from Chicago, who's picking 10th or something like that. Maybe, but if that happens, then, I don't really know the NFL like I think I do. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, which I am very open to. There's always that possibility. I do not have the entire draft locked up. Nobody does. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have our ladder challenge coming up. It's been a while, but I'm still hoping to have the momentum of a win from 2 weeks ago. First, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. You've been hearing me saying it for a couple weeks now, folks. You have yourself an opportunity to win a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Simple as that. Just getting straight to the point. You can win a custom Caniacs motorcycle if you go to caniacsbike.com. For the 4th year, this is the 4th opportunity you have to win a Canes motorcycle because the Carolina Hurricanes, Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, and Shiny Side Paint, they've all teamed up together once again to give one lucky fan a custom motorcycle. And that's actually the special thing about this one this year. In the past, there were motorcycles that were custom painted. This is actually truly a custom build. So it's one of one. Canes colors, Canes decals, you name it. It's one of one bike. Go to caniacsbike.com. And for all you motorcycle riders out there, including myself, make sure when all this snow melts, you're getting back out there on the road, that make sure that you're staying safe out there on the road. If you need to, maybe take a refreshing course on how to stay safe and all the basics and stuff of riding a motorcycle. look to take a class. I did it through Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson. Helped me out a bunch. Different things that you do to make sure you stay safe on the bike, and that's where Law Tigers comes in. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Insurance companies want to give you the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They know what your bike and your gear are worth. So contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or check out lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, gets back to the ladder challenge. Just a few more days left in February. It'll be a race to the finish. Who will win, me or Dennis? Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
You know, the need for John Shire's Duke Blue Devils team to roll white hot into the ACC tournament and blow through the bracket is clearly evident. The selection committee is only putting in 4 teams and suggesting Duke might not even be a number 1 seed. I'm not sure what more they can do at this point to grab respect. I suppose juggle flaming swords?
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, save 50% on the new Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Hey, Daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles?
Comment tu t'appelles?
Vous êtes où?
Vous êtes où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
When you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Dribbles to the foul line, bounces it right away to Styles, steals it. Head of steam left to right at the three-point line. Euro step, bucket, scoops it up, missed it, cleans it up, and ties the game at 6. Dontrez Styles stealing a basket 4 minutes in.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Friday. It's been 2 weeks since I've been able to participate in the ladder challenge, which means all of the gambling I've done has been strictly gambling, which part of the reason the ladder challenge is awesome is because it makes my gambling feel like, oh, I'm doing work. This is for my job. I have to look up these odds and lines. It's what I need to do. So I'm back to having that. Dennis, did you guys play Ladder Challenge while I was gone?
We did a daily.
Okay.
Is how we did it. We did 2 bets each day, and just whomever won the day, we just kept track. We finished with a total of I won 3-2. We had a few ties in there because we both lost all of our bets. But.
Happens to the best of us. All right, so we'll just pick up then as if the 2 weeks didn't happen, where we'll both just jump back into our progress, which means I have $20.15. We started with 10, had gotten a bunch right to double my money, looking to continue that. What are you up to at the moment?
Let's see. I was actually up to $19.70 is where I'm up to.
So fairly close.
Yeah.
Before the break, I went Carolina Hurricanes plus 1.5 goal or 1.5. Yeah, plus 1.5 goals. I can't even speak after 2 weeks. Against Minnesota, they lost, but they kept it within the 1.5. So I am a winner, and that means today I'm going back for the weekend too. I'm going back to hockey. I'm going back to the Canes.
Okay, there it is.
Canes Maple Leafs over 3.5 goals scored. So just over. I'm just teasing the over-under down to 3.5. It's minus 650. Here's my justification. Coming out of the break, I think there can be some sloppy goals allowed, right? There can be some guys that haven't been playing, maybe a turnover at the midline, and now all of a sudden you got to transition on a break and goals. And that's for both sides, by the way. The other thing is we don't know who's going to play and who's not going to play. If somebody like Jacob Slavin doesn't play for the Canes, that's a big knock to their defense. Maybe that allows somebody for Toronto to get going. We don't know about Marner. We don't know about Austin Matthews, so Jarvis. So I think it could be a little bit of a sloppy game in which, getting to 4 goals total is not anything that I should be worried about. If it hits, it'll turn my $20.15 into $23.25. Not a good omen, but I dropped my pen while explaining that.
Okay, there you go. I'm actually going to go with the New York Rangers and the Buffalo Sabres playing tomorrow. I'm actually going to go with an over-under myself. I'm actually going over 4.5. That's a minus 500 right there on the dot.
Trying to make up a little ground. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I got to. That's actually going to take me, that 1970 is going to take me to $23.40.
So you would actually take the lead with a
win.
Win. You would look at that. Maybe I should go find a different bet. Nope. Card played is a card played. We'll see how it plays out, and on Monday we will revisit. We do play this to the end of the month. If you are watching on YouTube, you see that I have the trophy, having won January, and this is a traveling trophy. We don't get multiples each month. It goes to the winner. Mm-hmm. So this stays on my desk until Dennis is able to pry it from my hands.
Yeah, that would have been, if I had gotten here on time, would have sat over here in the producer's studio for 2 months, but it had not arrived.
The shoulda, woulda, couldas count for nothing.
Hey, I don't make supply chain issues.
I had nothing to do with the ordering of the trophy, but I do like that it showed up right as I won. I do appreciate the timing of it. Thank you to the whatever supply chain issues there were. That's the ladder challenge. Let's go ahead and move on. There's a big basketball game in a big location tomorrow. It is Duke versus Illinois at Madison Square Garden. Some would say Cameron North.
It's a home game.
Especially Illinois. Illinois agreeing to this one is a strange beast. But that's where I'm gonna start. I love that Duke scheduled this game. I hate that they kind of aren't going to get what they ordered. Right? It's that right now Duke is experiencing, and it happens so often, right? When the description and the picture on the menu looks like the best meal you could possibly order, and you're craving it, and you order it, and then they come back and they go, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're out of the garlic aioli. Are you okay if we replace that?" And okay, yeah. And then they bring it up, and it's like, "Oh, well, actually, the sandwich looks much bigger in the picture. What is this for children?" It's like just the disappointment of not getting what you ordered or not getting the quality that you ordered. It's a bummer. And then you look at across the way and somebody else ordered the pasta and that's delicious. And you're like, I lost the ordering situation here. What Duke ordered, if you will, with scheduling this game is a top 25 ranked Big Ten team in the middle of February. I love that order. That sounds delicious, to keep going off the menu analogy. I love that order because it's tourney prep. And it's tourney prep for Duke when they are closer to the team that they will be in March rather than the young team that they were in November and early December when they played Arizona and Kansas and Auburn and they tested themselves in all of these non-conference games. Duke is not the same team. They were good then and they're good now, but they're different. They're more experienced. They only mention once a game that Cooper Flagg was 17 at the beginning of the year, rather than mentioning it every time he touches the ball like they did in November. Right? They're a different team. So what they scheduled was a great non-conference matchup for the team that they are in February rather than the team that they were in early December or November. And John Shire talks about the energy at MSG and playing Illinois and what that brings to a game like this.
It feels a little bit different. I'd be lying to you. I mean, it's the fact that we're in February and you're prepping for somebody you haven't been watching the same way, like you would a conference opponent. But I think that's what's exciting. It simulates an NCAA tournament game. I mean, obviously Illinois is an NCAA tournament type of team. Look, losing Mraz Johnson is a big loss. Just like for us not having Malik. But at this point of the year, you're going to play that comes with injuries, sicknesses that can come with this point of the year. So I just think it's a great test for our team playing a neutral site game against a great opponent who we have a lot of respect for. We're going to learn a lot about our team Saturday night.
Shire touched on it there, right? You still get the neutral court, even though it's not really neutral. You still get the kind of routine of being playing an unfamiliar opponent in a gym that you're not in often. But Illinois isn't what they ordered. They're not the top 25 Big Ten team that can really challenge you. They were that till they lost a bunch of games in the last month. Now they're sick and hurt, right? You heard him talk about Johnson, who's out with an injury, one of their better young players. He's out. I think it was a wrist injury. And they are wildly sick. There's no other way to say that. Does this happen every year, Dennis? Am I surprised? Like, is this one of those things like having a stuffy nose where when it happens, you're like, gosh, this is the worst. And then as soon as it clears up, you completely forget that your nose was ever stuffed.
Mm-hmm.
Does the flu take out this many professional and college teams every year?
Seems like for some reason this year is just different than others.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's not just me.
It's not just you.
Illinois is getting smacked around right now. So much so. And I don't pretend as soon as you start talking about like how diseases are spread, people get really worked up. I don't pretend to be any kind of expert on any of that. But Illinois played Wisconsin a couple days ago. Illinois lost by 20. And then after the game, they didn't shake hands because Illinois players have a virus going around and they didn't want to spread it to Wisconsin, which seems like you just got all sweaty and slathered around, boxing each other out. You're standing next to each other on the free throw line. You're getting up in each other's grill. No, the handshake line takes it one step too far. I don't pretend to know. I don't want to start those arguments. But the fact that they didn't shake hands because they were worried so much about Illinois spreading the virus that they have going around shows you how intense they're being hit by it. Illinois' coach Brad Underwood, I have a quote here that I'll read to you. It was in an ESPN article. In 38 years, I've never seen anything like what's gone through our team. That's from Brad Underwood. About Duke, Underwood said, it's David playing Goliath in the next one. We're going to show up and we're going to fight. That's a bummer for Duke. And by the way, I can hear everybody saying, you really feel bad for Duke basketball? No, of course I don't feel bad. They have every advantage, and they're a top whatever team in the country, top 3, top 4, depending where you're looking, top 2 in some places. They're a really good team. But I talk a lot about scheduling games. I hate what the Big 12 does to game the system. I love when teams don't fear losses in their non-conference schedule and schedule big, exciting games. I think it's good for fans, and I think it's good for your team when you hit the tourney. So when a team does that, I want them to get that. Right? It's the Indiana thing, right? People were upset that Indiana was getting all the love for being undefeated when their schedule was easy. I'm going like, They had Washington. They had Michigan. We didn't know that was going to be a bet. They didn't get what their schedule ordered, right? They had the two teams that played in the national championship last year on their schedule this year. It's not their fault that they stunk. Like, I felt bad for Indiana in that case. They're getting hit by their schedule not being strong enough, and I'm going like, well, they tried. Their conference tried. Duke wanted to test their team one last time non-conference-wise in a neutral court late in the season, and I don't think they're going to get that. And then you look at the rest of their schedule, at Miami, versus Florida State, versus Wake Forest, both in Cameron, and then at UNC, which is obviously always kind of put in its own box. That's its own deal. I mean, they're not catching a top 25 team for the rest of the year. And they tried to do everything they could to get one this point in the year, and it's just not going to exist.
Net rankings, Illinois is 19 in net rankings.
That's pretty good if they weren't sick and hurt.
Yeah, it's what it is.
And I mean, if you look at their schedule, and I had it up earlier, it was kind of crazy. At one point in time, they were 12-3. January 8th, 12-3 with wins over top 25 teams. Wisconsin, Arkansas, they were playing really well. Lost to number 1 in the country, Tennessee, by 2. That was like essentially a month and a half ago. Then they went loss, win, loss, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, win, loss, loss. That's tough. Right? And, you know, again, January 8th, Shire's probably looking at the schedule going, I love that Illinois game. That's going to be great. Look at this. We're going to get a great Big Ten challenge late in the season. Oh, I'm so glad we scheduled it. Now he's going like, what happened? We wanted that tough game. But, you know, as every coach will tell you, it's about you, not them. Focus on you. They have to find out how to play maybe sans Malik Brown, who dislocated his shoulder in the last one in a really weird play. He's kind of hands in the passing lane and like the ball almost dislocated his shoulder. It was I
think it just happened just on the extension, it felt like.
It was a really weird play, but he got hurt. Here's Shire updating everyone on Malik Brown's status.
There's nothing abnormal, you know, that you aren't ready to see, you know, with the dislocated shoulder. So I think we're optimistic that we can get him back this season. I think the hardest part is a lot of it has to do with his stability, which right now he's pretty sore still. So we have to see how much time that takes. Is it a couple weeks? Is it more? But he's going to be out. I mean, obviously he's not playing, you know, in the next week or so at a minimum. You know, I'd say it's a few weeks. But Malik will do whatever he can to get back on the floor.
Basketball is obviously different because you do need like full range of motion in your shoulder. One of the times I've been most impressed with anybody, and I don't know if he wants this out there because who knows, maybe he's still trying to play. It's a linebacker I played with in college, went on to be in the NFL for a bunch of years. He dislocated his shoulder, ran off to the sideline, and we're all watching it, right? You could tell. And by the way, you could tell with Malik Brown if you watched it. The way he was carrying his arm to the sideline, it was like, yep, seen this before, dislocated. Linebacker ran off to the sideline, dislocated his shoulder, put his chest down on the training table, like where you would, like it's like almost a massage table, like that, whatever, cushion table, put his arm down, yelled at the trainer to pop it back in. Trainer ran over. He took a towel, put it in his mouth. Trainer said 1, 2 on 2, right? Because that's what they always get you, right? I'm going to pull it on 3. 1,
that's how they get you.
2, bit into the towel, ran back out there and made a tackle on the next play. I went, thank goodness I play quarterback because that is not me. And then for the rest of the season, he played with a harness. He couldn't put his arm above his head, but he was the toughest individual I've ever seen, and that's probably why he ended up in the NFL. Malik Brown, by all accounts, basketball version of that toughness. People really say he's got a little bit of that. You can't put a harness on, so he can't put his arm above his head in basketball. So better to wait the couple weeks. But he's a big part of their team. Defensively, he's a big part of their team, and he's a pretty good dunker. Good vision for a big guy. So we'll see how that plays out for Duke. Elsewhere tomorrow, as we transition, Wake at NC State. I said this earlier. I'm going to say it again. NC State is past the point of no return. This season, and I'm not saying this mean, I'm saying this facts. This season is a failure. You have to acknowledge it. You can't hide from it. It's good to do, by the way, right? Have that real, honest, heart-to-heart. It doesn't mean, from a fan's perspective, looking at the team, it doesn't mean the people, the players, the people within that program are bad people. It doesn't mean they didn't try their best. It doesn't mean that they didn't have the best of intentions. It doesn't mean you have to scream and yell and call them mean names, but you can't pretend it's not true. You can't pretend that this season is some kind of a success if you squint with one eye and close the other. Looking back, right, like I'll say this, missing some signs. I think we maybe should have seen it coming more when we talked to Kevin Keats outside the Lenovo Center during the Canes run last year, and I simply asked him, this is after their Final Four run, right? Good vibes all around. And I said, how much easier is recruiting with that Final Four buzz at your back? And he went, well, actually, no, it's still all about NIL. Like, they're really – everyone's still just asking about NIL. I think my alarms should have gone off more there to say, wow, if even a Final Four run isn't changing anything, we shouldn't raise expectations based on the end of last year. It's still, you got to build whatever you were building one step at a time.
And he said that even after the loss against North Carolina a couple days ago.
Yeah, exactly. He's starting to say it again. But it's one of those, like, you know, in the Thriller movie when – right in the first 10 minutes, they like tell you who the killer is. And then at the end of the movie, you're like, how did I miss it? Like, that's the moment where I'm like, I should have been more concerned there. And instead of just assuming like, well, you can fundraise off of Final Four and then use that money to win the NIL battles. Like, I think I was a little golden retriever-ish, lost in a Final Four run. Just like, oh, how awesome was that? It's going to be awesome forever, isn't it? Throw the tennis ball. Money. I don't know if that was intentional.
It was actually.
That sound. That's what it comes down to. So this season's a failure. It's a failure. We missed the signs. You got here anyway. The only thing left to do is decide how you're going to respond to failure. Right? The powers that be have to decide if they trust the coaching staff to learn from it and fix it. Do you try something different than the transfer portal path they've gone down? Do you tweak anything? Or how about this? Do you just say, hey, this transfer portal path that they've chosen to go down, right? Because even before last year, I'm going like, this is transfer portal U. You're bringing in guys to play big roles every single year. It's transfer portal U. Do you just acknowledge that is high risk, high reward? And in order to have seasons like last year, you're going to expose yourself to the possibility of seasons like this year, and you're just going to try to do that over and over again. That's a possibility too. Look at Florida State football. Florida State football brought in a bunch of transfers, and what'd they do? Ran the table, undefeated, won the ACC, should have been in the college football playoff. Next year, what'd they do? Brought in a bunch of transfer portal guys. What happened? They're the worst team in the ACC by a long shot. Now compare that to NC State basketball. Brought in a bunch of transfers. What'd they do? Started slow, but ran through the ACC, made it all the way to the Final Four. Everybody was happy. What'd they do the next year? Brought in a bunch of transfers. What happened? Play that sounder again. There it is. Maybe they acknowledge that. Maybe they just say that's the life we've chosen. And we're going to bring in a bunch of transfers next year, and hopefully it's more DJ Burns, DJ Horn, and less of what we had this year. For Wake, right, because they're the other side of this game, treat every game like a playoff game. Dennis, I know you're in tune with all the bracketology. Where are they sitting right now?
Joe Lunardi, as of this morning at ESPN, his latest bracket projection, they're the last team in of the field of 68. So number 68 of 68.
Last team in, which means likely one loss puts you one of the first four out.
Easily.
So, and maybe further, maybe next four out. Treat every game like it's a playoff game. Sometimes I actually like that. Sometimes I like if you can just say, backs against the wall, let's go. We have no more wiggle room, no more margin for error. If I have a prediction, and we'll be making bold predictions soon, I think this could be a big Hunter Salas game. He plays really hard, which is pleasant to see, right? Maybe it's just me, but I also watched some NBA on my paternity leave. There's large stretches where nobody is playing hard in the NBA, where the effort is just like, I'll walk up and pass it to you. You jab step 3 times and take a 3, and then we'll all jog back on defense together. Hunter Salas plays hard the entire time he is on the court. And I think that could end up being one of the points that'll be very noticeable in a game against NC State.
By the way, Cam Hildreth did not play in their game against SMU back on Saturday. And that's the last time they played. So they've having a week off between games. Cam Hildreth hasn't played, and he was averaging more points over the last 4 or 5 games than Hunter Salas was. But Hunter Salas still carried them in that win against SMU, which is big. And they needed that because SMU is a bubble team, just like North Carolina is, just like Wake is. So that was a big win for them. But if Cam Hildreth can't play, there's not a lot of depth on that Wake Forest team. They really just run 6 guys if Cam Hildreth can't play.
And at times that's been awesome because that means you always have veteran presences out there, always people you trust, but you're always one. We saw it last year with Duke. Duke was running a 6-man rotation, and Foster got hurt, and then all of a sudden they were really stuck. It's the risk that you run by playing guys huge minutes, and Wake does get caught in that occasionally. But also it's hard. Like, you're going to justify taking some of those guys off the court when they're 150 games of experience each and talented. It's tough. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of real bold predictions, we have real bold predictions coming up next. Stick around.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Johnson trying to step back for a 3. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damas from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The Get That Out of Here's.
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50. Add any size Sprite for $1.49. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello, Creighton Blackwell here from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. Tonight we are at Green Level High School, and we're here to celebrate the newest Scholar Athlete of the Month, Lexi Taylor.
My family is definitely like my biggest support through everything. My sister and my parents both support me through my hardest days and my best days, and they're always there to support me.
Lexi's a phenomenal athlete, comfortable with whatever you ask her to do. She's strong, she's poised, she doesn't get flustered easily.
And she's just like grown up so much as like a captain and a teammate, and she's been a captain now for 2 years, and I really just think she's been like such a great help to our team.
Well, I've been cheering with her since 7th grade and we're seniors now. So I've kind of like watched Lexi like grow up, I feel like, and she's like done the same with me. So I've like seen her like step into a leadership role, and I feel like she's just always super encouraging and keeps a positive attitude.
It means a lot to me to just be able to be recognized in such like a wide area with so many amazing athletes. So I just feel great to like feel like someone's like seeing all the hard work that I've been putting into my sport and my academics. So I'm very grateful for it.
Congratulations, Lexi.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
This hour of the drive brought to you by Enbridge Gas, formerly Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas. Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas customers are now proudly served by Enbridge Gas. Looking forward to a bright future together. To learn more, visit enbridgegas.com.
Carolina will have to set up in the half court. Ooh, nice dribble and kick out by Cadeau. Extra pass goes left corner to Ian Jackson. He'll step back for 3. Count it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's right. It's time, just as it is every Friday about this time, for real bold predictions. We call them real because they're certified. They're authenticated by something we call the bold enough bell and the not bold enough buzzer. If I get a buzzer, I have to make it bolder on the spot. This ensures that I don't game the system by saying something like, I have a bold prediction. I think that Cooper Flagg is going to score 5 or more points. That's not a bold prediction, and you don't get to celebrate if you get it right. I'd have to make it bolder on the spot. So, with that being said, let's dive in. Let's start with Canes. Canes are playing at Toronto tomorrow. First game out of the Four Nations Cup break. And I'm leaning on one of the Four Nations Cup players. Seth Jarvis scores a goal tomorrow versus Toronto. Anytime goal scorer Seth Jarvis. Seth Jarvis multi-point night. And, all right, cool. I would have said and a goal in there, but I didn't have to. He had 2 great chances in the final of the Four Nations Cup to score. Didn't convert. One, nice play by Hellebuck. The other, he got slavened.
He got slavened.
He got slavened. Which is funny. If you go back and listen to some of the mic'd ups, like in the past, Seth Jarvis has been heard saying, like, I don't know how I'd do playing against Slavin because he wouldn't talk trash. He'd like smile at you and then he'd lock you up. It's like, well, that's exactly what happened in the Four Nations Cup final.
He took the puck from him away a few times.
I'm sure he then went, nice play, Jarvie. It's good. I just think that playing in those, sometimes you see it with the Olympics and basketball where it's like you're around the other really, really good players from your country and then you come back and you kind of level up in your original league. I'm expecting that from Jarvis. I'm expecting that from him. I think he's going to go on a hot streak here. Rod Brindamore, do we still have that sound from earlier? Rod Brindamore talked about the benefit for Seth Jarvis competing in the Four Nations with Team Canada.
Especially for a young guy, I think that's being thrust into that atmosphere with, let's face it, the greatest players in the game. That's special. And then I think really what'll come of it is he'll realize that there's not that much separation. That's what you don't know as a guy. You don't play with these guys, and all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, I skate just as fast as that guy, or I do this as well as them. And then you also see what you can get better at by watching what they do. So that's the real, I think, carrot of going to that thing. Obviously winning is special, but just being around that and picking up all that stuff will only make him better.
So that's why I went Jarvis. But I also have the exact opposite on my bold predictions for today. Andrei Svechnikov, multi-point night. Because he just had to watch everybody else have all the fun in the world at the Four Nations Cup. He's out, granted, being on a beach or wherever he was probably fun, but he's refreshed and he's ready to show everybody what's going on. I have some, this isn't breaking news, but it's an update from John Buchagras, ESPN, long time, hockey guy. I think that's probably how he would want to be described the best. He just tweeted this out. 9.3 million viewers for Canada-USA final on ESPN last night.
That's awesome.
That is higher than any NHL game ever.
Yeah.
According to Buchagras. So imagine being Svech, like your country wasn't even invited to the party. You want to go out there and score. You're refreshed. You're ready to roll. So Jarvis gets the bump of being in the Four Nations Cup, and I expect Svech to have the bump of not being in the Four Nations Cup. Onward.
Well rested.
Exactly. So that's my hockey real bold predictions. Let's get to the college basketball portion of real bold predictions. Duke, Illinois, MSG, Cooper Flagg triple-double. It has to happen at some point.
That hasn't happened yet.
It's one of the last frontiers of statistical domination that Cooper Flagg hasn't conquered yet. He leads the team in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. At some point, a triple-double has to happen. I'm just thinking Illinois, you mentioned their net ranking very high, little injured, little sick. I don't think they're a top 25 team right now, but I do think they could be good enough to keep it not a blowout the whole game, which means that Cooper Flagg will be pressing. Sometimes you see him win these 20, 30-point blowouts. He takes a back seat, lets some other guys run. If it's within single digits, which I usually think it could be most of the game, I think he's got to keep the pedal to the metal a little bit more, and you can have a game where he walks away with a triple-dub. So I'm looking for a triple-double. I'm gonna try to pinpoint when it's gonna happen. I think it will this year. I'm gonna try to guess the game. Also in that game, another Duke one. I'll go Tyrese Proctor, 15-plus points. 18-plus points. 20?
Not for a guy that was averaging nearly 20 for a hot stretch here.
And for 4 or 5 games. But then he had 7 against UVA. Do I have to go 20-plus? Did I already say 20-plus? I may have doubled up on that, but it worked. He had at least 18 in 3 straight games before the 7 against UVA. I think he'll get it going again.
Yeah, he had a stretch of 5 where he scored 16-plus and was averaging about 19.7.
I don't know if that's exactly right, but I'll believe it. I'm buying. I just think he gets back to it. The UVA is different than everybody else when it comes to defense.
Yeah.
They're just unusual. We'll go to UNC. UNC, ironically, playing UVA.
Huh.
I'm going Seth Trimble, 20-plus points plus rebounds.
Points plus rebounds, 20-plus? Because he can easily go 13 and 7, because that's about what he's averaging this season. So.
But it's UVA.
I understand.
You got to do it on less possessions.
I understand.
I'll go 25-plus points plus rebounds plus assists.
Points, rebounds, assists? 25?
He's not going to get 5 assists.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Maybe he will. Now I hope he does.
Hey, now watch.
He's going to get to 25 with like 13 assists.
He's going to go double rebounds, assists.
Hey,
watch.
I wouldn't hate that. The old Ben Simmons. I just think Seth Trimble has to be kind of everywhere. He came off the bench in the last game. But I think he has to be kind of everywhere for UNC to have success. And if you're everywhere, you're going to be racking up points. You're going to be racking up assists. You're going to be racking up rebounds. I would request, if I'm a UNC fan, like a SportsCenter top 10 dunk from. He has the ability. I just want to see it. His teammate, Ian Jackson. I'm going 15-plus points versus UVA. He has been significantly slumping. I think he had 12 for the first time he's been in double figures in like a long time. I'll go.
He had 20. Was it 23 against Syracuse?
You're right. It actually was the previous game, but then he's back to 12. And before that, he had like a couple nothing burgers.
Oh yeah.
I'll go up to 17-plus. All right. I'm hoping, just for my own, like, people waving my own takes back in my face. I'm hoping that I completely missed his slump, which would be lovely, because I've hyped him up a bunch. I really like Ian Jackson's game. And then I missed 2 weeks for paternity leave, and he decided to take like 2 weeks off from scoring. And I was like, ooh, I kind of vouched for this guy pretty aggressively.
I knew you were out.
But then by the time I came back, he had scored the big game against Syracuse. He had 12 off the bench in their most recent game. I'm like, all right, he's figuring it out. We're doing okay here. Way to go. I'm not going to have to answer for all of that crazy hype I gave him. I still think he's very good. I still think whoever gets him, if he does go pro in the middle to late first, is going to get a steal. I think he's a really good player. Last one I have for you here. Last real bold prediction.
Okay.
Hunter Salas, 20-plus for Wake Forest against NC State. 23-plus points, we're talking, for Wake Forest against NC State.
I'm trying to think if Cam Hildreth is going to play.
Do you have insider scoop that we need to know?
No, but I'm thinking like if Cam
I saw
Hildreth
him walking at Chipotle and he wasn't limping. I'm kidding. That's not true.
It was a shoulder injury, if I remember correctly.
Okay, well, he had the burrito in both hands.
23. I might have to push this a little bit further.
24. We'll take it one at a time.
We'll take it one at a time.
I don't feel great about going above 23, so I'll go 24.
Price is right.
Just tell me what number I have to get up to.
25.
25-plus. Salas is a really cool sweet spot. I hinted at this earlier, but I'm going to go a bit in deeper now. Of like a legit star. He's one of the top 5 scorers in the ACC this year, and he's preseason All-ACC pick. Would have been probably a second-rounder in the NBA draft if he came out last year. But he's also an effort guy. He also is not afraid to, like, dive. He's not afraid to get dunked on, which I like. He'll go up to block a shot, even if the player is, you can tell with body posture going for it. I can't get, like, the image of NC State's potential care being low in that UNC game. And if you show up in a game like this against Wake Forest with your care being low, Hunter Salas will run around you, through you. He's a guy that'll dunk on you. He'll make it very obvious that your bleep it level isn't where it normally is. So I just think it could be potentially, especially, I mean, I would feel very comfortable with 25 plus if, as a bold prediction, granted I know it's bold, if Hildreth doesn't play, because that's just more usage for Hunter Salas. But even if he does, I think it's a game where, you know, the person that wants to rev up the engines a bit will be the one in best position to score a bunch, and I think that'll be Salas.
When they played earlier this season, it was at Wake Forest. Hunter Salas had 20 points on 8 of 14 shootings, also 2 of 4 from behind three-point line.
I would expect a lot of free throws for Hunter Salas.
Yeah, it was only 2 of 2 from the line last time these two teams faced. And like you said, there's the checked out factor that could potentially be playing in for NC State. I mean, it's real.
It's funny watching both of us search for like the correct way to say it without going like, it didn't look like they cared very much. We're going like their checked out meter is tinging towards the upward side. We're like really mincing words over here.
Like even when, for example, even though the games that they were playing, that they were losing, they were still like close games.
Yeah.
And they even had a win. Then it's like, all right, guys, like, we've got a win. Let's go on the road. Let's take on a rival. And then you get smacked. You're like, oh, yeah.
It's just some days you don't get off the bus. And by the way, the jokes were flowing. The best I saw, and I apologize, I didn't see it on Who Said It on Twitter or X.com. Somebody said, I appreciate NC State following the orders that said if you are a decent driving distance away, not to show up. Right, because of the snow?
Mm-hmm.
It's only funny because it's partially true. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting 5 coming up next. It is nearly 5 o'clock on a Friday. Good vibes. Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
What city's fan base are you rooting against the most?
Kansas City.
They just lost. Why do you have to root against them now?
Because they've been at the top and they let you know about it every single chance that they get.
But they can't say nothing about it now. They lost. They got embarrassed in the Super Bowl.
They sure did. They sure did. But I'm just saying prior to that.
You're still rooting against them?
Yeah, big time.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And free fitness training to help you mix up your routine. Plus, most clubs are open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends February 28th. See Home Club for details.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
This is what WRAL weather coverage sounds like.
Thunderstorm warning right now in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
When your safety is a priority.
An indication that there is a tornado on the ground, so get in your safe spot
in this area. Get in your safe spot right now.
With the tools that make a difference.
WRAL Storm Tracker is inside the storm.
WRAL has the only dual Doppler radar in Wake County.
Hear it and see it every day.
It looks like the storm is doing exactly what we predicted to do.
That's WRAL News. Weather coverage you can count on.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been sighted across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRL meteorologist Mike Mays. With all the sunshine and warmer weather, we saw a lot of melting take place. There's still going to be liquid on the road, so watch out for some icy spots overnight and in the morning. 19 the low. Increasing clouds for Saturday. It's milder, the high at 49.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones this afternoon down 748 points to 43,428. Market update brought to you by Lufthansa. Lufthansa is excited to take off from Raleigh Durham International Airport, connecting you to destinations like Germany, Italy, India, and beyond. Say yes to incredible journeys. Book today at Lufthansa.com. Again, Lufthansa.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is Friday, and in a couple seconds, it will be 5 o'clock. Happy weekend, everybody.
Let's go. We did it.
Yeah, I've worked the long, hard week of one day.
I know you had a busy week, man.
I did. A lot of changing newborn diapers. That's what I've been up to.
By the way, you're getting some congratulations on our YouTube Live.
Thank you.
Brandon, Austin, Christopher all said welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Also, we'll shout out to my wife for taking care of 2 kids today. That is significantly more difficult, I'm sure, than talking about sports. With that being said, let's talk about some more sports. Let's get to the starting five.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Here's Marchand with Bennett with him. And the trailer. Jarvis and a block by Slavin.
I'm just now realizing we should have put Four Nations Cup at number 4.
Could have.
4. There's synergy there. We'll get better. I'll get better. Right now, though, the Four Nations.
Next time.
Yeah. Next. Well played. You know what stood out? And Dennis, we've talked about it, so I know you agree with this. Playoff-like atmosphere?
Oh, 100%.
Playoff
atmosphere, playoff style of hockey, playoff intensity, all of it.
Which plays perfectly into one of the few things I've been talking about for the Canes for the last 2 years, which is the thing that they need to prove is that they can play well in the postseason, in the playoffs. Right? I've put them in the same category as teams like the Bills, teams like the let me think of a good one in the NBA. Maybe the Suns, where it's like, no, you can play well in the regular season. We've seen it. You can win awards. You can get top seeds. You can win your division. We've seen it. The thing that we don't know if you can do is win in the postseason. And the hardest part about that is you can't just simulate the postseason, right? You can't go, all right, we need to work on playing in the postseason. Next Thursday, we'll run a mock postseason game and get the intensity ramped up so we'll be better prepared.
All right, guys, postseason practice on Wednesday.
Yeah,
1 o'clock. See ya.
It just doesn't exist. Coaches have been trying for years, centuries even. Go back to when football was rugby. It's just impossible. So there is something to be said for 4 of the most important Carolina Hurricanes got 3 or 4 games of experience in the closest environment you can possibly find to a playoff game. Right? When Seth Jarvis played his, whatever it was, 12 and a half minutes for Canada in the final, that is 12 and a half minutes of working on playing your best in a big moment. When Jacob Slavin played 75 minutes in the final, I know that's what it felt like for Team USA. That was a ton of time where he got to hone the skills necessary, the controlling your emotions, the not exhausting yourself in your first 3 shifts because the atmosphere in the building is so crazy. It gave them an opportunity to simulate a playoff game. And even though Aho and Rantanen did not make it to the final, trust me, those games against Canada, USA, like those were big-time games. And again, it's just another opportunity for them to work on the thing that the Canes have struggled on doing the last 6 years, which is converting the success of, right, the 80-plus games with less pressure and turning that into the most success possible in the games with gigantic pressure, right? So I'm not saying it's the most important thing in the world, but round 2, game 6, backs against the wall, need to get a win this year. Maybe Jarvis, Slavin, Rantanen, and Aho are 1% better or 0.1% better for having played in super intense games more recently. And in the playoffs, it's a game of inches, right? 0.1% might be the difference.
And one thing that noticed to me, I think it was to any hockey player out there.
I like this.
If you want
to
win,
to him directly.
If you want to win like high leverage games, this case, essentially yesterday was a game 7, winner takes all type of situation. If you want to win playoff games, there's a certain way and there's a certain mentality that you have to have. It can't be, hey, pretty tic-tac-toe passing. No, you got to be willing to go to the front of the net with bodies in front that are going to hack and whack you with stick on the ice, trying to get a bounce, and be willing to take the punishment to do it. That's what it takes. You have to win puck battles along the corners and boards. That's what wins you those kinds of games, not pretty passing through the neutral zone.
I actually, it's a
like,
nice twist.
It's good if you have that skill, but you also have to have that mentality of, I'm going to go ahead and do the dirty work and the physical stuff and not shy away from it.
It's a nice twist there, because I was thinking so much on how the 4 guys that played in it could benefit. But I guess there's probably a pretty good argument that even the guys sitting at home, if they caught any of the action, are going like, yeah, I see what works there.
Yeah.
Right? I need to do more of XYZ, and I don't do enough of it. So maybe somebody like Svetch, maybe doing a little watching, suddenly is like, oh, let me go bully people in front of the net because that's what we're going to do in the postseason.
When you see Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon try and win board battles and aren't afraid to take hits to make plays, it's like, oh, if they're willing to do it, I have to be.
It's true. It's very true. That's number 5. Let's jump to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Now it's Jarvis coming in on Ramelka. He scores! Oh, beautiful goal, Seth Jarvis. And the Canes go up 5-2.
The Canes playing back tomorrow. So we go from the Four Nations Cup to the NHL action back underway. They're at the Maple Leafs tomorrow night. Saturday night game. There'll be a lot of eyes. It's a big game for the NHL, right? We talked about this earlier today. 9.3 million people watched USA-Canada final in the Four Nations Cup. Obviously, that game drew in casual fans due to a bunch of stuff. There was politics, there was rivalry, there's nation pride, right? It's national pride. As soon as you put the country on the jersey, people get into it for a bunch of reasons. But also, I don't know, a couple 100,000 of them, casual fans that don't normally watch hockey, might have gone, you know what? That was really fun. I enjoyed that. This weekend, we should get together to watch the hockey game. And there's a good chance, right? Saturday night at Toronto. That's a big game. That might be kind of the let's see if this is a real game. So it's not only is it a big game for the Canes to like go win and start their second half or second part of the season and on a good vibe. It's also big for the NHL as far as trying to convert some of that buzz into permanent popularity. Now for the Canes, to give everybody a refresher, it wasn't all gumdrops and roses and warm chocolate chip cookies before the break. They did get a much-needed palate cleanser against Utah right before the break, where they scored 1 billion goals.
Including a power play goal.
Which
desperately needed that.
Like Eclipse. prior to that, they had lost 3 straight, and they really were not scoring goals, power play or otherwise. They had 3 goals in 3 games against Los Angeles, meaning the Kings, Winnipeg, and the Wild, Minnesota. So that's where they were. They were a team, I've never heard a football coach say the bye week came at a bad time. Right? Every time they're going into a bye, they're like, just came at the right time. We're banged up. Need to fix some things. Need to reset. The Canes were legitimately a team that the break came at a good time. They needed a reset. They needed to reevaluate some things. They needed to have some discussions and also unplug, right? Either go play some games with your country or go to a beach somewhere. Like, they needed that, and they got it. So I'm excited to see what a refreshed, healthier, right? The boo-boos and the owies are gone from most of the roster, at least. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Canes bring to the table tonight at Toronto.
Well, tomorrow
night. Tomorrow night.
When we talked to Sean Walker, just kind of talking to him, just saying how good of a break was, just a mental resetting. You kind of need it, but you're kind of reinvigorated to come back to rink. Like, you're excited to come back to the rink again, which I think is a good thing. They have 26 games in 52 days. To close out the season.
Yes.
Yeah, to close out the season. 26 games in 52 days in the regular season. Like, it's basically an every other day venture.
And this is very easy to say from the comfortable chair in the nice, climate-controlled, no one's allowed to touch me studio that I'm in. I kind of like that. Like, you get your reset, you get mentally locked in, you're itching to come back. Now go. Now every other day. Just ramp it up until the postseason. Go, go, go. I'm sure there will be times where it feels like the dog days and they're in the middle of it and they're exhausted. But I kind of like it for this year's Canes team. Just go be like rink rats, right? Just be at the rink every day ready to play hockey. Go in the submarine, as my coach used to say. Every season you go in the submarine. It's just you and the team in there. That's number 4. Actually, you know what? Let's hear from Rod Brindamore quickly, just because I think it's good audio. Rod Brindamore was asked if there's any concern about the emotional or physical fatigue for the guys on the Canes that competed in the Four Nations Faceoff.
For those guys that played last night, for sure, and Slava was playing a ton of minutes, and Jarvis winning, it's going to be you don't want to say a letdown all of a sudden. Get back into the grind. You kind of want to, I'm sure, for those guys, have their break, but they don't get it. I mean, that's the trade-off.
Yeah, I agree to an extent. I also think Slavin is one of, maybe I'm giving Slavin too much, hockey cyborg credit. I don't know. I think he'll be good to go by tomorrow night. He's like, give me a Gatorade, a burger, night's sleep. I'll be ready to play more hockey.
That guy probably hasn't been home in a couple weeks. He went to Montreal, then had to go to Boston. He's like, you know what? Can I have my own bed, please? Because now he has to go to Toronto, then back to Montreal.
Nope. You're on the road. Sorry, Slavin.
Sorry, Slavin's family.
If you didn't want to play so much, don't be that good.
Hey, it's your fault. You're so darn good.
It's John Madden in The Replacements. Don't do something great if you can't take the congratulations. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Looking for Evans on the right. A ball fake, steps to the left, and hits another one. His 5th 3 of the ball game. And it's 68-43 with 9:25 to go. He's 5 of 5 from outside.
Duke at Madison Square Garden against Illinois. Rare late season non-conference game for the Blue Devils tomorrow night, similar to what we just talked about. So right before I took my maternity leave, I was talking about Duke saying they should be gunning for an undefeated ACC season. They were at the time, I think, 12-0. They were heavy favorites in all their remaining games in conference. I wanted them to chase it. Of course, not 48 hours after I left, they lost to Clemson. So that's off the table. But it's still, the reason why I thought they should gun for it, the reason why I think they should do anything that I think they should do is about getting them ready to have to win. How many games will end up being? Was it 9 to win an ACC tournament and an NCAA tournament? That's what they have to do. They have to be prepared to win that many games in a row with progressively better competition. at Madison Square Garden against Illinois is a dress rehearsal for an NCAA tournament game. It's an unfamiliar opponent from another conference in a not home arena, even though Madison Square Garden at times feels like home for Duke. They've played there, I think I saw 25 of the last 27 years. They scheduled this intentionally. This game is to get them ready for the NCAA tournament. It's funny to me. There are, and we're aware of a bunch of them, probably, 5 to 10 programs in college basketball that legitimately judge their success by do they win a national championship. Duke is one of them. UNC is one of them. And there's, a handful of others across the country. I think it's surprising that they obviously hold themselves to that standard, and occasionally it doesn't feel like they make program-wide decisions with that in mind. Right? Scheduling Illinois at MSG this late in the season, that could hurt your net rankings. It could hurt your ACC tournament momentum. There's a lot of damage that could be done by scheduling a potentially top 25 non-conference team at this point. But I also think it makes you more likely to win a national championship. So I respect the schedule. Now you got to go and back it up. You got to go win the game, dominate the game even. Illinois, I talked about this earlier. They're getting hit with some kind of a virus going around the locker room that has made their last 3 weeks very difficult for them to handle. If you remember when the Carolina Hurricanes, basically Rod Brindamore was like, I don't know, everyone's questionable. We'll see who lines up today. We'll see who's there and ready. That's kind of where Illinois has been recently. This guy's in, this guy's out. They had somebody that they thought was going to play through it, but then got sick, and you know what I mean by that, between warm-ups and the game starting, so they were out. They had a starter that came off the bench and gave him 12 minutes because he was fighting everything internally. It's a tough spot for Illinois. Duke has to go and say, it's a tough spot for you? Cool. Nobody cares. Here's a nice 20-point loss. That's their challenge today.
No one's going to feel sorry for you.
Again, I said today, I meant tomorrow night at MSG. That's number 3. Let's go ahead and jump to number 2.
Just the two. Dribbles to the foul line, bounces it right away to Styles, steals it. Head of steam left to right at the three-point line. Euro step, bucket, scoops it up, missed it, cleans it up, and ties the game at 6. Dontrez Styles stealing a basket 4 minutes in.
Wake versus NC State tomorrow. Wake Forest at NC State tomorrow. This one is wildly important for Wake Forest. Wake Forest is one quote-unquote bad loss away from perhaps tumbling off the bubble. Right now they're firmly they're bubblicious. They're double bubble. They're right down the middle of the bubble for the NCAA tournament. NC State, while in name is not a bad loss, in play is a bad loss. Right? They're not a quad one, if you will. So Wake Forest has to go in this game looking to make a statement, which becomes more difficult. We've talked about it. We're unaware if Cam Hildreth will be playing or not. Didn't play in their most recent. This is the definition of a nobody cares, work harder game for Wake Forest. If he does play, great, win the game. If he doesn't play, you still got to find a way to win the game, and probably by more than a bucket or two to build your resume towards the NCAA tournament. Speaking of bracketology,
actually, real quick.
Yep, go ahead.
On Cam Hildreth, this is actually what something that Steve Forbes said last week, that Cam Hildreth was fighting a staph infection and a contusion in his foot. So he's day-to-day. Would be surprised if he – so, yeah. But also say wouldn't be surprised if he isn't available this coming weekend.
Staph infections. I know there's levels to it. One of my high school staff went around the wrestling room, and it was rough. Kids were
clean your stuff, folks.
Yeah. Wipe down the mats at the gym. So for Wake Forest, they just got to win. For State, playing for pride at this point, right? You want wins. Maybe if you win out, you can squeak into the ACC tournament, but it's a rough season. We've talked about it. Here's my official take. You have the bracketology up. Can you bring the bracketology
up?
Okay. Where are the ACC teams on the bubble?
So ACC teams on the bubble. Last team in is Wake Forest.
Okay.
They're number 68. If you go to the first 4 teams out, team 70 is SMU. Team 72 is UNC. So the first 4 out, SMU is the second one. UNC is the fourth of those 4 teams out.
Here's my fear. My fear is they're not actually that high. And what I mean by that is I can't remember the last time the ACC got done a solid by a committee. You know what I mean? It seems like we always go into these situations, football and basketball, with expectations of, all right, this will be the last team in. All right, this team will squeak in. Okay, this team deserves to get in. Last year, remember Wake, Pitt, some of these teams were really feeling like they had a shot to make it, and by the time the committee put out their, they weren't even close. I'm worried that a team that's last in from the bracketologists like Wake, in the committee's eyes, might right now be sitting 7th team out and not realize it. I think if I'm any of those 3 teams Dennis just mentioned, basically any team in the ACC other than Duke, Clemson, Louisville, I'm expecting to have to make some waves to get in. I'm expecting to have to do something to get in. I can't just hold my position and depend on the committee to put me in. And that also means avoiding the bad losses like Wake Forest will be doing against NC State. UNC, same thing. UNC, nobody is going to gift you because you're the Tar Heels a play-in game. You're going to have to go do something. Maybe win the ACC tournament. That's what I'm thinking of. The ACC tournament should be as hotly contested as it's ever been this year, because there's a lot of solid teams, middle of the pack to upper middle of the pack teams, that should go in with the expectation if we don't win the tournament, we don't make the NCAA tournament. And then let the chips fall where they may. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Trimble on the drive to the top of the key, kicks it over on the left side to Cadeau. Left corner, Withers feeling it and hits another triple.
UNC versus UVA tomorrow. UNC has an uptick in swag and momentum right now for the first time since over a month. I would say, actually, ironically, about the last time they played NC State. They played NC State, they won. That gave them 3 wins in a row, including wins over SMU right before, and then they smoked Cal the next game. That was January 15th. That was an uptick in swag. There was some talk about this could be a corner. Maybe they turned it. Look at this. UNC's putting some things together. It was also right in the middle of a stretch in which Ian Jackson had scored 20-plus in I think it was 6 of 7 games. So there was confidence there. UNC lost all of that momentum, okay? Lost to Stanford. Loss at Wake. Needed overtime to beat Boston College. Loss against Pittsburgh. Smoked by Duke. Barely beat Pittsburgh. Smoked by Clemson. Then a big win over Syracuse, which got Ian Jackson back on track. He scored 23 after a shooting slump. And then the win against NC State, in which the first half, this was on Wednesday, the first half against NC State, they looked as good as they have looked in a long, long time. And it, I often say when we have segments here that Dennis and I, hey, we don't compare notes on this if we're doing picks or something like that. He doesn't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what he's going to say. I was out of the office for 2 weeks, so we genuinely did not react together. We didn't even have conversations about the game. That NC State win for UNC, we both independently came up with, they actually looked like a UNC basketball team for stretches.
Felt like Carolina basketball.
It felt like Carolina basketball. The running and gunning, the defense in the backcourt leading to easy buckets. There were multiple times where it just seemed like UNC found their identity again. Now, in the second half, I thought it wavered a little bit, maybe lost that identity, but hey, right? It's like you're a drummer. You lose the beat, you got to try to find it back. All right, and I'm back, right? If you're playing live music, it's not going to be perfect. You have to get this uptick to be more than half a game. Virginia, Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech, your next 4 games. Needless to say, that is not a gauntlet of teams in conference. I'm actually going to look it up because I want to, before I say, straight bottom feeders, looking at the ACC standings as it stands right now, Virginia Tech is, I don't know, like 8th to the last, Virginia right above them. There's nobody in the top half of the ACC remaining on your schedule until Duke in the final game. Right? You're catching Virginia, doesn't scare you. At Florida State is as rough as it gets. Miami, sorry, I should have prefaced it. Florida State is as rough as it gets, except for maybe like Miami. I'll put it this way. If UNC is going to win 5 straight games, which it feels like they need to just for themselves, they got a good stretch to do it. Then you go into the Duke game. You know how that rivalry goes. You throw the records out. You go into the ACC tournament. I would say with the expectation you need to win the whole thing. Play that way. Play desperate. Play desperate. And just to clarify, I like what Hubert's doing recently. Right? Hubert said some things that he said got twisted, right? He talked on his own radio show about hiring a GM. He said the old way North Carolina plays or structures, I forget the exact words. He's going to accuse me of twisting it by saying that. He said some things that everybody reacted to, and then he came out and said they twisted my words. And since then, he's kind of shut down, which you may say, like as a media person, I'm stupid for liking that because it's like, no, you want coaches to talk. You want them to give you fodder for the show and everything. I kind of like that he's like, no, I'm just focused on coaching basketball right now. I'm not worried about the structure of our front office. I'm coaching basketball right now. I think he should try to turn the entire UNC basketball team into that. If I'm Hubert Davis, when I have team meetings right now, if I'm in the locker room, I'm looking around and saying, assistant coaches, players, me. Everybody else get out. Because sometimes these big programs, you look around a locker room, and no disrespect to these others because they do their job and it's very important, but you got like trainers, you got information, sports information directors, you got multimedia, social media cameras, you have boosters, you have athletic directors, and it's too many. UNC needs to be like the players, the coaches versus the world. Everybody's been down on you for a while. Who cares? Win this game. Versus UVA tomorrow, then win the next, win the next, win the next. Go into that Duke game on a 5-6 game winning streak and try to turn that into something special. That's my only advice to you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to the numbers game, and we have looks like a $25 gift card to Hardee's.
That's correct.
For the numbers game today, and I heard you've been killing it while I was gone.
The contestants have been killing it.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
You as well, Dennis.
I talked.
I've stumbled through the numbers game enough that I know it's not the easiest thing in the world, at least not for me. But before we get to the numbers game, before we grab some contestants, here's Dennis with something for you.
Dennis Cox here for ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Folks, as football season has wound down, college basketball is gearing up. Fans are ready to see which teams will prove they are ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get in on all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 to get $100 in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app and sign up with the promo code Radio100 to get started today. Must be 21 plus, gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Let's get some numbers game contestants, shall we? Right now, we have a $25 gift card to Hardee's. Indulge in their new menu of maple-flavored goodness with sweet maple biscuits served all day long and breakfast now served till noon. If you want to play the numbers game, go ahead and call 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 for your chance to compete in the numbers game and win that $25 gift card to Hardee's. Numbers game next.
Caniacs, get ready for Iced Tea, a brand new podcast that gives you the behind-the-scenes stories from the Carolina Hurricanes. You watch the game back?
Yeah, all the time.
And are you hard on yourself?
Oh, God, yeah.
Any of the players ask for their crust off?
We do have one player that I cut the crust off, and I individually wrap it for him.
Your name is on the Stanley Cup.
It's the best trophy in sports.
Follow Iced Tea with Megan LaMontagne in any podcast app or watch the show on YouTube.
Hello, I'm John Heister for John Heister Chevrolet in Fuquay Arena. And people are asking us, how are you selling so many cars all of a sudden? Well, did you know that the Beltline has opened up the outer loop? We're only 28 minutes from Knightdale. We're only 19 minutes from Clayton and 15 minutes from Apex. We're now the most convenient Chevrolet dealership to reach in the Triangle. And the best part is, you don't have to traverse the inner city traffic. It's just one more reason to get off your keister and come to Heister.
Now at John Heister Chevrolet, get up to $13,000 off with Chevy loyalty on a 2024 Chevrolet Tahoe. Together, let's drive.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts.
It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's see if I can still do this, shall we? There we go. My screen's taking a little while to load. Hasn't been up on the numbers game in a while. Let's see if I can still do this whole numbers game thing, because we have 2 contestants ready to play. We have Hudson and Coates and Tom and Carrie, and they are competing for a $25 Hardee's gift card. As always, we have to ask a question. Dennis will pick who goes first based on the answer, his favorite answer. Starting with Hudson. Hudson, are you there?
Yes.
All right. Okay, Hudson. I'm gonna need you to speak up just because you were a little quiet there. The question is, what are you looking forward to most about this weekend? It's a Friday. You have a weekend staring ahead at you. But because we're a sports show, go ahead and keep it sports related.
The Duke-Illinois game.
All right, the Duke-Illinois game. You got it locked in, Dennis? You ready to roll?
No questions asked.
All right. Tom and Carrie, you are up next. Same question to you. What are you looking forward to most about the upcoming weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
ABC. We want Virginia to rise up and get rid of UNC.
All right. You're going with the UVA side of things. Dennis, which one is your favorite answer?
Interesting one. The ABC, the always beat Carolina. So rooting for just another school to beat UNC. I find that an interesting move. But I like Hudson was just straight up, Duke, Illinois.
Duke, Illinois. All right,
I'm going to go just – he was straight confident with it, so I'm going to go with Hudson on this one.
Hudson?
I like how both were local.
Yes,
I appreciate
one was
that.
beating the local team.
Well,
but
there's that,
They
too.
both involved local teams.
Mm-hmm.
Hudson gets to go first. Tom, don't worry. You'll have your chance. Just got to wait on hold there for a second. Hudson, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes.
All right, the categories are NFL Top Panthers of the 2000s. Or, sorry, the 2020s. NFL Top Panthers of the 2020s. NFL, there's a Z in there somewhere. These are players with Z's in their name somewhere. And NBA, not my real name, players that go by something other than their government name. Or final category, NHL, Hurricanes only.
Let's go Panthers in
Panthers in 2020.
All right. NFL top Panthers of the 2020s. I will give you the team and the player, even though we know the team in this category. I will say it anyway, just to keep it fair with the other categories timing-wise. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
You don't have to call me sir, but I appreciate your readiness. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Brian Burns, Carolina Panthers.
53.
Correct. Chuba Hubbard, Carolina Panthers.
30.
Correct. Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina Panthers. Did we lose? Oh, there we go. Incorrect. DJ Moore, Carolina Panthers.
2.
Correct. Robbie Anderson, Carolina Panthers.
3.
Correct. Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina Panthers.
9.
Incorrect. Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina Panthers.
15.
Incorrect. Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina Panthers.
5.
Dennis,
after the horn.
Oh!
After the horn.
Dennis, Hudson, you were so close. 5 was the answer we were looking for there, but it came just milliseconds after the buzzer sounded. So you have 4 out of 5. That was a very solid showing. Good job. By the way, for those of you playing at home, there were a couple answers that he did give that he got correct, that there were multiple that we would have accepted. Brian Burns wore both number 0 and 53 for the Panthers, so we would have accepted either. DJ Moore wore both number 2 and number 12, would have accepted either. And Robbie Anderson, who at times went by Robbie Chosen, with the Panthers, wore number 3 and number 11, so we would have accepted all of them.
What's that bear doing?
Legendary mic'd up, if you don't know what that reference was.
Just to confirm, this is the final.
All right, let's all listen.
5.
Yeah, the horn came first. Hudson, very good showing, though. That does leave the door just slightly ajar for Tom and Carrie. Tom, are you ready to roll?
Not really on that.
All right. Well, your confidence is overwhelming. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players that have a Z in their name somewhere, NBA players that go by a name other than their government name, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Z.
All right. These are all NFL players, as I stated, with a Z in their first or last name somewhere. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You do need all 5 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. You don't have to call me sir either, but I appreciate your readiness. You can go ahead and start when you hear the horn. Rome Odunze, Chicago Bears.
Yep.
Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas Cowboys.
22.
Incorrect. Zach Ertz, Washington Commanders.
87.
Incorrect. Rome Odunze, Chicago Bears.
12.
Incorrect. Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas Cowboys.
23.
Incorrect. Zach Ertz, Washington Commanders. You know, it was you were close. I'll give you that. It's an offer. But with Zeke Elliott, you took your time. You thought 22. We were looking for 21. So you went 22, 23. We were looking for 21 or 15. He's worn both. 15 was also Rome Odunze for those of you playing at home. Zach Ertz, you thought about it. You went 87. We were looking for 86. But hopefully you had some fun. You didn't get the win, but hopefully you enjoyed yourself.
Congratulations, Hudson. That's awesome.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. That means Hudson's the winner. Hudson, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hudson,
Thank you.
if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
8.
8. Is this the same Hudson that has gotten a?
Yes.
You have a perfect score already. You almost got another one today, but you did get a $25 Hardee's gift card. So congratulations. What
Thank you.
Absolute monster of an 8-year-old sports trivia aficionado. So Hudson, stand in line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you, but congratulations once again. That is wildly impressive. Wildly impressive.
He was close, just literally a fraction of a second away from getting 5 for 5 again.
And you could tell he was thinking about it. Sometimes, and by the way, this is what I think is a smart decision. When you're down to 1 and you don't know, just fire out numbers. People are like 12, 37, 4, 9. Like they just go. You could tell he was like trying to give like Teddy Bridgewater numbers. What would Teddy Bridgewater? What do I remember Teddy Bridgewater? Did he wear this at another place? Did he wear it at Miami? You could see the gears cranking in Hudson's brain. So congratulations to him. Definitely earned that $25 gift card. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. There's a lot of talk about hockey recently. Norcane watches mix in exceptionally well with that conversation. Norcane watches available at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, specifically in their Village District location in Raleigh in the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, which is a shop within a shop on the right side of the store. Norcane is an independent Swiss luxury watch brand founded in 2018 that is already upending and disrupting a bit the watch world, right? They're doing things like making fully customizable watches. They're doing things like adding more color, more kind of electric colors than you're used to seeing in watches. And then also they're partnering with many hockey players, right? They're the official timekeeping partner of the NHL and the NHL Players Association. Several NHL players, both active and retired, serve as ambassadors for Norcane. So if you're watching them, walk in the tunnel, the games and that, look at what's hanging out on their wrist. There's a good chance you'll see Norcane watches. Mark Straight, a former NHL player, Stanley Cup champion, is part of their founding team. After joining the brand in its early stages, he actually came through Bailey's Fine Jewelry in their Village District location not long ago for a Norcane event to talk about the watches. I was out there. He's invested. That is not a just in-name endorsement. He understands the movements and everything going on with the watches. If it's interesting to you, maybe you cross, you're in the middle of that Venn diagram of hockey fans and watch fans, head out to Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location. Check out the Norcanes. I promise you will not be disappointed. Let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, on 99.9 The Fan when you're out there. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're heading into the weekend, which means we have to make some picks. We will be making our picks coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
Their more pressing need to get this team across the line was never Mikko Rantanen. It was, man, we got to get better down the middle. We have to get better, more hard to play against in the middle of the ice. JT Miller, by the way, right now is playing third center for the Rangers. So to me, if this was about this year, it would have been JT Miller would have been the target.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
Lowe's knows that your business is built on speed and trust. That's why the Lowe's Pro Desk is here to get you what you need the moment you need it. We'll help you plan your project, calculate your materials, and pivot when your job takes an unexpected turn. And with our pro-only checkout and dedicated pro parking, you have what you need to tackle your job and be back on the job in no time. Just visit us at the Pro Desk. Lowe's knows pros. We help. You save.
The Lumineers. The Automatic World Tour, September 16th at Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Raleigh. With special guest Chance Pena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. The Lumineers pick up their new album Automatic, out now.
Bonuses used to be everywhere. Boxes of cereal, a baker's dozen, airline upgrades, even without quadruple diamond platinum status. Life is better with the bonus. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery is adding bonus chances to multiply your win on Multiply the Cash scratch-offs. More chances than ever to win over $140 million in total prizes. Because everything is better with a bonus. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.31 to 4.86. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello. Creighton Blackwell here from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. Tonight we are at Green Level High School, and we're here to celebrate the newest Scholar Athlete of the Month, Lexi Taylor.
My family is definitely like my biggest support through everything. My sister and my parents both
support me through my hardest days and my best days, and they're always there to support me.
Lexi's a phenomenal athlete, comfortable with whatever you ask her to do. She's strong, she's poised, she doesn't get flustered easily.
And she's just like grown up so much as like a captain and a teammate, and she's been a captain now for 2 years, and I really just think she's been like such a great help to our team.
Well, I've been cheering with her since 7th grade, and we're seniors now, so I've kind of like watched Lexi like grow up, I feel like, and she's like done the same with me. So I've like seen her like step into a leadership role, and I feel like she's just always super encouraging and keeps a positive attitude.
It means a lot to me to just be able to be recognized in such like a wide area with so many amazing athletes. So I just feel great to like feel like someone's like seeing all the hard work that I've been putting into my sport and my academics. So I'm very grateful for it.
Congratulations, Lexi.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Roslovic, Walker shot, he scores! From long distance, Sean Walker, his 100th NHL point, his second goal with the Canes.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm out of practice. I haven't hosted the show in 2 weeks. I haven't said once today. Subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan.
I know.
Hopefully many of you do, and hopefully if you don't, you will soon. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Constantly trying to grow our community there, and we're working to put out content every single day, and we'd love for you to consume that content. Again, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube.
Real quick.
Yep.
This hour of the drive brought to you by Enbridge Gas, formerly Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas. Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas customers are now proudly served by Enbridge Gas. Looking forward to a bright future together. To learn more, visit enbridgegas.com.
There you go. Also, a little bit of housekeeping here. We have Michigan State college basketball on at 8 tonight here on 99.9 The Fan. That's a top 15 matchup in college basketball.
Both teams highly ranked.
And obviously you get the rivalry of Michigan State. Should be a really fun game right here on 99.9 The Fan later tonight.
By the way, that Michigan win for Wake Forest earlier this season, looking better and better every single week.
And the dumb part about net rankings, right, is everyone that's beaten Wake Forest in the ACC has to be rooting for Michigan to beat Michigan State tonight. So then Wake Forest's net ranking will go up. Thus, your net ranking will go up for having beaten Wake Forest to make you better on the bubble than you were and better in the seedings than you were. That's what college basketball has done to us. The ever spiraling web of net rankings. Let's make some picks, shall we? Let's go ahead and do it. We have picks to make going into the weekend, just like we do every week. Dennis, what games are we picking now?
Let's actually go ahead and start off with one tomorrow between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Canes are on the road at Toronto. It's a 7 o'clock game, 6:30 coverage with Adam Gold right here on 99.9 The Fan. By the way, Brandon on our YouTube live chat said, hey, not sure if we did first goal scorer predictions already, but he says Jordan Martinook in the second, thinking the Canes maybe come out a little flat.
Okay, well, first of all, love that you're thinking of first goal scorer predictions without us even bringing it up.
Yeah, no, been a minute since we've had it.
We do, yeah, true. We do first goal scorer predictions when our show is on the day of the game. So Fridays for weekend games don't necessarily count. If there were a game tonight, we would have done it. But hey, for bragging rights, you can always make first goal scorer predictions. Do we want to do that real quick, Dennis? Do we want to make a first goal scorer prediction for tomorrow?
I say we do it.
All
Let's
right,
go.
you go first.
One of the guys that you mentioned, Andrei Svechnikov.
Yep.
Give me Andrei Svechnikov late in the first period.
I'm going with definitely Shane Gostisbehere.
Oh, okay.
Shane Gostisbehere, making it happen from distance. We're picking the game, right? Is that what we're doing? Can I ask questions first?
Okay.
Marner, Matthews, Slavin, Jarvis, will they be playing, or what combination of them will or will not be playing? Because they all played in a pretty intense game, pretty intense tournament that ended last night. If either team decides one or both of those four guys don't play for their team, that severely changes how this game is played because they're really good players. If all four of them play, I'm taking the Canes. Okay, let's just go there. I think this could be not just for the Canes starting slow. I think it could be a sloppy game for maybe first 2 periods, right?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of these guys haven't played live hockey in 2 weeks. That doesn't happen in hockey. So I think it could be sloppy. I'm looking at something like 5-3 Canes with some real just disgusting goals given up.
I was actually thinking the same thing. I was thinking along the lines of a 5-4 Canes win.
Yeah, something just gross. Some turnovers at real bad spots.
It's like, what is that guy doing? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe Austin Matthews skating away from the opposing team's best player right there in front of the net. Oh, no, wait. That was overtime in the final of the Four Nations Cup. McDavid, who wants to stick on that guy?
Just goes to show you can't trust someone for Toronto in a playoff type game. That's all I'm going to say. Granted, Mitch Marner's the one that made the pass to Connor McDavid, but
Details, not fun to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go ahead and actually get right into the basketball tomorrow here in the state of North Carolina. We have 3 games that are being played involving teams here in the Triangle, including an in-state matchup. We're just going to go probably just order by tip-off is what we're going to go ahead and do here.
Fair.
So we have Wake Forest on the road at NC State. This is at the Lenovo Center. It's a 2 o'clock tip-off tomorrow. I'm actually going to be there. I'm actually excited to see Wake Forest play in person. But in this one right now, I'm trying to look for a spread on this one. I'm actually not seeing one for this game. But NC State at home against Wake Forest. The matchup predictor on ESPN has a 51.8% chance for Wake Forest in this one.
51? I'm surprised. 51.8, so we'll call it 52. That's closer than I would have expected.
Yeah.
State has not been playing great basketball recently. I'm taking Wake. And if do we know what the odds are yet? What the spread is?
Yeah, I couldn't find a line on this one.
If it's if it's within 2 or 3 points, which 51.8% would kind of indicate, I'm taking Wake, and I'm giving whatever points I had to give. I think Wake Forest, especially if Cam Hildreth plays, is set up to win that game. So give me Wake.
Okay, let's go to another game, also a 4 o'clock tip-off. Let's go to another game in the ACC. This one actually has something on the line, somewhat for both teams, but more for the home team. SMU is at home against Clemson tomorrow. SMU, of the first 4 teams out, according to ESPN, is one of those first 4 teams out of the NCAA tournament. So they need a big win at home against Clemson, which is projected to be a 6 seed right now. So SMU at home against Clemson. Do not see, actually, the line on this one, Clemson minus 2.5.
Here's the issue I have. SMU is not a big team. They're not tall. They do have a freshman, I think, who is like 7'2" or 7'3", just a big dude. But isn't anywhere near their like main character, if you will. So I think there's some opportunities for Clemson's bigs to play well. Clemson's been playing good basketball. Is SMU's desperation of being a bubble team enough to overcome what I feel is a talent disadvantage? I think Clemson's just a better team. I don't think so. Give me Clemson. I think Clemson wins, and I don't know what the spread is, but I'd expect it to be by a couple buckets.
2.5.
Yeah, give me Clemson. I'll give the 2.5.
Yeah.
I'm just picking favorites over here. Real boring stuff.
Yeah, the thing that impressed me about Clemson was they backed up the win against Duke, where everyone stormed the court, and then 2 days later you have North Carolina coming into town, and they backed it up by beating them by 30 in a game that really wasn't even that. I'm sorry, by 20 in a game that really wasn't even that close.
Felt like 35.
Might as well have been. But that's actually something that impressed me about Clemson. They didn't let the Duke win. They didn't rest on that against North Carolina. So I don't think you're going to see a Clemson team that is
Clemson is a veteran squad. They've got some Wake Forest stuff in them where there's a lot of guys on that roster that have played a lot of college basketball, either at Clemson or otherwise.
I mean, let's not forget. I know PJ Hall's no longer there, one of their better players from last year, but they went to the Elite 8. Let's not forget that.
They got the chef.
That they do, who looks like he's ready to get a lot of run at the Y when his college career is over. He is built for it. Oh, you guys need one?
He'll make money overseas.
He probably will.
He will.
All right, let's go. 4 o'clock tip-off. Virginia at North Carolina. Again, 4 o'clock tip in Chapel Hill. ESPN matchup predictor has 87.5% that UNC wins this game.
The advanced analytics must love UNC. Because I watch them a lot, and I'm going like, I don't see it. And then every bracketologist is like, oh, yeah, good shot. And every prediction is like, oh, they'll definitely win. I think UNC will win, don't get me wrong. But it's not because like I'm not down on UNC this year. It's because I'm downer on UVA this year. So I think UNC wins. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think they need Ian Jackson to score. They need Seth Trimble to play big. They need Withers and Washington to do some things that they've been doing. When they're knocking down threes, they're a different team. So yes, I think UNC wins. I think it'll be a 2-possession game late in the second half, and then UNC could pull away, maybe win by 8 or 10.
Okay, 8 o'clock tip-off tomorrow night. This game you can actually listen on Buzz Sports Radio or watch on Fox 50. Duke versus Illinois, Madison Square Garden. Again, it's an 8 o'clock tip-off. The line on this one, Duke is favored by 10.5 against Illinois. Matchup predictor on ESPN, 80.1% for Duke to win this one.
Yeah, go ahead and give me Duke. And Illinois is just in a tough spot because here, like I've talked about it a bunch of times, they've been really sick, and I'm saying like there's a virus going around the locker room, which even if you're all healthy, I still think there's like another game or two after. Like anyone that's been sick knows, like I'm healthy, I don't have the fever anymore, I don't have to be in bed. But there's that like fog that you have to kind of fight through the 2 or 3 days after you're sick. And then for a team, then you got to get back to chemistry and playing with each other. They did have They did have the freshman Johnson. He's hurt, so he's out. It's not a sickness thing. He's just hurt. So I think Illinois is in a weird transition period. I think Duke will take advantage of it. Their defense is smothering, to say the very least. So, and it's MSG. It's Cameron Indoor North. So I think Duke gets the win. I'll 14 points will be the difference.
All right. I'm just going to throw a couple fun ones at you in terms of college basketball. We actually have a couple top 10 matchups this weekend. For example, noon tomorrow, Tennessee at Texas A&M. That's number 6 Tennessee at number 7 Texas A&M. Razor-thin margin of this one. Tennessee favored by 1.5, but the matchup predictor on ESPN, basically even. It's 50.3% for Texas A&M, 49.7% for Tennessee in this one.
I mean, it's a big game.
I think it's just a fun, if you like college basketball, sit back and enjoy.
I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on either of these two teams, but you're darn right it'll be a fun game. I'm trying to think. I know Tennessee has some big wins because I've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look it up real quick. Who has Tennessee Texas A&M beaten? I'm not sure if they've.
Clearly enough, if they're ranked 7th.
They beat Oklahoma, beat Ole Miss, beat Missouri. All right, I think that's about 25 wins. Give me Tennessee. Just because their wins have been more memorable for me. How's that taste? And that's about going to do it for us here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
I know we have about a minute left here, but let me give you one final one.
All right,
here.
Let's do it.
Men's lacrosse, Delaware, taking on Penn, number 16 Penn, Delaware men's lacrosse.
And then we'll
at home.
fight for Delaware. Fight for the blue and gold. You don't need to hear the whole thing.
Hey, that's a top 20 matchup, by the way.
No, Delaware's legit. Our athletic director just announced she's leaving to take over, be the CEO of Team USA Swimming.
There you go.
So whoever wants to be the athletic director of the powerhouse Delaware Blue Hens, we're looking. Spread the word. Only the best of the best need apply. Making the FBS jump for football. Get there. Make it happen. Team USA Swimming. CEO. Didn't even know that existed. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, coming to a close. We do have more basketball talk coming up, talking UNC to start Overdrive, so enjoy that. Subscribe to our YouTube. As I said, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Want to see you there. Until on Monday at 3 o'clock, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Enjoy it. Enjoy the games. See ya.
Caniacs, get ready for Iced Tea, a brand new podcast that gives you the behind-the-scenes stories from the Carolina Hurricanes. You watch the game back?
Yeah, all the time.
And are you hard on yourself?
Oh, God, yeah.
Any of the players ask for their crust off?
We do have one player that I cut the crust off, and I individually wrap it for him.
Your name is on the Stanley Cup.
It's the best trophy in sports.
Follow Iced Tea with Megan LaMontagne in any podcast app or watch the show on YouTube.
You know what's fun about Ram Truck Month at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington? Nothing if it's not you behind the wheel of a brand new 2025 Ram 1500. With savings as much as $15,000 off a new 2025 Ram 1500, you can have all the fun driving this powerful, rugged truck built for work, play, and everything in between. So get off your keister and get to Heister today. Hurry to Ram Truck Month at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50 at any size Sprite for $1.49. Price of participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Build monthly.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
6 o'clock check of your weather here on 99.9 The Fan. Temperatures tonight going to be cold, dropping down to the low 20s. Tomorrow it's going to be much more pleasant, highs in the upper 40s. Partly cloudy, lows 28 on Saturday. High on Sunday, looking at sunny and 57 before we start getting into the 60s on Monday. Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 6 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell this afternoon, down 748 points to 43,428. Market update brought to you by Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity ReStores have a huge selection of high-quality building materials at a fraction of regular retail cost. Come shop and save on your next project. Find locations at trianglerestores.org.
It's 6 o'clock. Time to shift into overdrive. All highlights, no filler. As we run it back from the drive with Tim Donnelly.
UNC versus UVA tomorrow. If, and it's a big if, but if, UNC is going to go on a magic run, which is one of their few options left, right? Kind of win out the rest of the regular season, hit the ACC tournament, make a run, and either win the tournament to guarantee your chance in the NCAA tournament, or hopefully that the bubble gods look upon you favorably and you sneak in as an at-large. If you're going to go on a magic run, it's time, right? It's the Braveheart moment. Hold. Now is time. Time to go. The stretch of basketball that UNC played from January 18th to this past most recent Wednesday against NC State was not good. Right? I said it earlier. I've been out for 2 weeks on paternity leave. Didn't mean the games weren't on. It was just they were on in the background while changing diapers and stuff. And I was watching UNC. I was watching Duke. I was watching NC State. And I'm hoping for something new, something different, something in those 2 weeks to change. And for most of it, watching UNC, not a ton different. Just like, they're still struggling. The big difference was like Ian Jackson actually forgot how to score.